will move into the central part of the state eventually. This is max 2 live winds, kind of pinpointing where we're looking for that spin. But there's the risk of severe weather today. And again, it's a pretty good 2 out of 5, but a 3 out of 5 down in southwest Arkansas. And this is also the area of the state, like Nathan said, we'll probably see an extension of this watch, but a good part of western Arkansas and southwest Arkansas under that tornado watch until 5 o'clock this afternoon. So that line, let's say that 5 o'clock rolls around, we may see that line in central Arkansas by then. Here come the counties, I promise, taking me just a little, there you go, right there. And it looks as if a few counties have been added on the northern extent of that. But to the west of Little Rock, Hot Spring County, Garland, Yell counties, Clark counties, you folks are under that watch until 5 this afternoon. And again, it's this line. This line will move across the region. Damaging wind gusts are the primary threat, but within that line, there could be some brief tornadoes that occur, and that is certainly why the Weather Service has the tornado watch in effect. There's that line. It is a formidable line and is picking up some forward momentum. It's a little bit stronger there in southwest Arkansas. That's getting ready to near the Texarkana area. And just to the west of Mena, McCurtain County, Oklahoma, was under a tornado warning just a few moments ago. Again, our risk of severe weather today is a 2 out of 5, but you see the enhanced risk there over southwest Arkansas. And this is where we also find the greatest tornado risk over the southwestern part of the state. Hail, not as much. There could be some, and damaging wind gusts upwards of 60+ miles per hour. So our weather hazards today pretty much all on the low end, but all it takes is one tornado. In terms of the timing, this has been changing just a little. This is our high-res model, the HER. Here it is, 146. That line is already in western Arkansas, so everything is moving along a little quicker than our forecast model guidance is able to catch up with. So 5 o'clock, it could be 4 o'clock moving into the Little Rock Metro. That will certainly impact your drive into or drive home, or even the drive from school as well with buses. So as soon as we get an update to this, we will certainly pass it along. But overall, the storm timeline, 1 to 6 western Arkansas, 3 to 9 central and southeast Arkansas, 6 to 11 this afternoon and tonight. With another day of, it seems like April just keeps going. What day are we on? Have we reached the end of the month yet? Can we flip the switch to summer? I'm ready for the death ridge of high pressure to settle over us for just 6 months.
Hazy, hot, and humid. Yeah.
I'm ready for those days.
We won't be complaining about that whatsoever this year after what we've been through. I mean, we've already had 35 tornadoes, and typically for the entire year, on average, you see 37. So we've been well above average. Not only that, we've had strong, violent tornadoes, especially in northeast Arkansas. So we need a break, and today's situation, this is more typical for Arkansas. This type of situation when you have a squall line roll its way through. Squall line is basically just a line of strong to severe thunderstorms. But when you have these, what's known as a QLCS tornado, they can still be quick. They can come without warning. They're usually an EF0 or EF1. Typically, they're not stronger than that, but sometimes they can be. But this is a more typical type of severe weather scenario that we're used to here in Arkansas versus what we have been dealing with, which is more typical for central Oklahoma, I would say.
Yeah, and just over the past couple of days, we've seen wave after wave after wave of strong to severe thunderstorms, heavy rain, and it's going to continue a couple of more days. You know, I was looking at the forecast ahead Friday, thinking, okay, we're going to get a break on Friday, but then another system, the main system along with the front, finally sweeps through here. The weekend looks fabulous, but between now and Friday, we still
we'll be busy.
We still have this one to get through. And then another area Friday doesn't look nearly as severe, but it does look like the boundary is going to sweep on through here with an upper level low pressure area, and that will clear us out for a few days.
Yes, and then hopefully we get into a more tranquil pattern going into next week. But as severe weather season, it goes all the way until the end of May usually, but even in the summertime, things can get wild, especially when you have the remnants of a tropical storm or a hurricane that produces a lot of rotation in the atmosphere. We saw that last year with almost a record amount of tornadoes in July, I believe.
Yeah, you know, as thinking back, you know, what type of scenario for the Gulf and hurricane season? We're heading into more of a neutral period in terms of La Nina, El Nino. So everything's going and driving neutral. It doesn't mean that, oh, well, that means that the weather is going to settle down. No, not necessarily. But with the La Nina settling back into a neutral, and you get back into El Nino eventually, they go back and forth. These patterns go back and forth, and they do have some impact on our local weather.
Yes. Right. So they're continuing to watch the cell in McCurtain County, and they're saying that the rotation might be picking up somewhat as it's trying to move into Polk County. So we'll go back over, and let's go over to Storm Track 11. This is using the Fort Smith radar because the tornado warning was dropped, but as we play this out here, that one rotation disappears. There could be another area of rotation right there where you see my cursor that's trying to develop right there. So we have to watch out for that. Let's go over to the NROT tool, and there's something showing up. So if that holds together, I think western
Polk County
areas of Polk County will be under a tornado warning shortly, and that will probably include Hatfield, Cove, Vanderbilt, and maybe Mena. The last tornado warning was pretty small, so we'll just have to see if the National Weather Service is going to go ahead and make that decision. If this rotation continues to pick up or maintain itself, they will likely try to go with that. We're getting a radar sweep at 5,000 feet above the surface, Tom. So we can't get a good reading just because the radar beam from Fort Smith, the radar beam from Shreveport, it's above 5,000 feet. So we don't know what's happening necessarily at 1,000, 2,000 feet above the surface. And that's where you get a better reading on the low-level rotation within a cell.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up on live winds out of Fort Smith, and it would be, here's Smithville, somewhere in this area. Here is Polk County. So it's getting closer to the border, and we've got the National Weather Service up. As soon as they decide what they're going to do, we'll slide into kind of our severe weather mode. I'll go over to the green wall, and Nathan will take over here. And Michael, this is really more for your knowledge. We need to get a home, make sure that our digital team is ready so that we can take it live if we get that warning for Polk County. If we get the tornado warning for Polk County, then we will go on. That may not last a while. This one in McCurtain County.
Yeah. It could last 10 minutes, it could last 30 minutes. It just depends on how long that rotation sticks around. And these QLCSs, or the technical term in meteorology, is a quasi-linear convective system. That's why we call it a QLCS, because it just makes things easier. They don't last typically very long. Like we've been saying, these are not going to be long track tornadoes, but you can have several tornado warnings lined up within a line. So we'll have to watch out for that as well. Let's go over to Storm Track 11 because I'm using the model that the National Weather Service is also looking at. This is the Warn on Forecast system. It's all thanks to the research that the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration does, or actually with the National Severe Storms Laboratory.
You can take that tool. There you go. There you go. I was stepping out of the way to take care of something real quick. Go ahead, Nathan.
Okay, so what we're looking at is where the model is saying there could be storms that rotate. And when you have rotating storms, that could mean two things. You could have hail, or you could have rotation that tries to produce a tornado. This is a paintball situation. So this is several models printing out different solutions on exactly where the storms could be rotating. So as we advance this here through time, you can see for the most part, it's into southwestern areas of Arkansas. Then as we go through the rest of the afternoon, this is getting into about, looks like 20Z, so that's going to be like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon as it moves into Garland County, Montgomery County, Yell County, and the bulk of the paintballs, or the highest chance of rotation of storms, is primarily, according to this, Howard County, Hempstead County, and eventually into Nevada County. Now, even here in central Arkansas, there are some model information that is saying we could have a rotating thunderstorm as close as Hot Spring County, maybe even Saline County, and even a few are trying to say as far north as than Buren County and Stone County. But by far, the odds really favor the I-30 corridor as we get into 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon into the evening hours, and then it starts to fade away somewhat by 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. So we really want to pay special attention to storms that develop within that zone, Tom, which would be southwest Arkansas, I-30, and then just south of Little Rock. But we can't rule out there could be a tornado warning even here in the metro we'll have to watch out for.
Still going with a severe thunderstorm warning in Polk County, although the line is now punching into western Arkansas, getting closer to DeQueen down in Sevier County, and also will impact Little River, Miller counties eventually. But just looking at what's going on in Polk County, again, Nathan's keeping an eye on the rotation there, and we've got the line moving in. This is what our live radar looks like. And yeah, you're kind of not in a no man's land, but the radar beam having a tough time picking up all of it. So you go back and forth between Fort Smith and Shreveport. Joining us on THV 11 Plus this afternoon, if you're just joining us, thank you very much. We're just talking about the weather scenario for the rest of the day, and we've got a line of severe thunderstorms moving from Oklahoma into western Arkansas. Might be moving in a little bit sooner rather than later, and damaging wind is our main concern, but a few tornadoes can't be ruled out, and the highest probability according to our risk today was over the southwest, and Little Rock, Hot Springs, Conway under a slight risk, or 2 out of 5, but it's still a risk, and it still means that we could have some severe weather here in the state this afternoon.
Even though right now it's not too bad out there in Central Arkansas. So you've got some time. You have to do some shopping, maybe some grocery shopping. You've got time. You got a couple hours here in the metro, because this line will start to advance its way in the metro probably as early as, I would say, 4 o'clock. If it accelerates a little bit sooner than expected. You see the new severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued now for Howard County, a small sliver of Hempstead County. This is probably going to be the situation, Tom. I think we're going to have just a solid area of severe thunderstorm warnings just continue to build from west to east as the afternoon into the evening progresses along. And within those severe thunderstorm warnings, we could have 1 or 2 tornado warnings, just because there could be a quick little bit of rotation that does show up from time to time.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do real quick. Let's go to our Fort Smith live winds and see if there's anything of concern that might be rotating there. And it's tough to pick up. And you've got the outer portion of the radar beam from Fort Smith here. I guess we could go down to Shreveport and check it out, but we're looking for those little couplets within the line. And certainly some strong wind gusts approaching the Queen at this time.
Yeah, we'll see what the ASOS observations come in when that line makes its way through. We'll be able to gauge on how much of a gust of wind it produced as it goes through DeQueen, as it goes through Mena, because both of those areas are under tornado warnings. When we take a look at Storm Track 11, we're looking from Fort Smith once again. So your best readings and your best data is going to be very close to Fort Smith. You see how it goes much more detailed around Fort Smith, and then it gets less detailed because you're getting farther away from the radar dome in Fort Smith. We're above 5,000 feet here in Polk County, but you can clearly see there is rotation happening just to the northeast of Sallisaw, Oklahoma, and there's that tornado warning for that county in that part of Oklahoma. I'm just going to see what county this is, because I know Adair is just to the north. I don't know what county that is. Tom, what is that? I don't know my Oklahoma counties. I know my Arkansas counties. I do not know my Oklahoma counties.
Well, let's see what we can find out here. Is that Sequoia? The one that's near Fort Smith, Sequoia?
That may be.
Maybe Sequoia.
It's not showing up here, though.
Huh, interesting.
On the labels.
And
anyway.
Adair is just north of that. That's the one that's close to Benton, Washington counties.
Yeah, so that tornado warning is going to be continuing to move towards Natural Dam, into Sebastian or Crawford County, and then eventually into Washington County if it holds together. Are those folks under a tornado watch in that part of Arkansas?
I think that there were a couple of counties added on the northern extent of that. Let me pull it up on Max 2 real quick. Michael, give me just a second and I'll pull that up and show you once again who's under the tornado watches for the afternoon hours. And this is till 5 o'clock today, so this line is moving pretty quickly. And we did make mention that it may be extended to include more of central Arkansas. Man, these computers work slow sometimes. It's just slowly coming along, and here we go. Yeah, looks as if Washington, Crawford, and Sebastian counties, Franklin County has been added to this tornado watch.
Okay.
So there are the watches.
So that's the new extension of the watch, and you were right. It is Sequoia County. For some reason, it did not pop up when I zoomed into the county, but it pops up when you zoom out.
Would you doubt me?
So, never.
No, I
Never doubt you, Tom.
I was looking at the map. What
is
let
that?
me tell you something.
No, I know what a map is. Come on.
What is that? Yeah, this isn't Google. This is paper. I tell you, Ed used to use a map like this all the time.
Oh yeah.
You can really get down and find some of those smaller towns on a map like this. So that's all it was. Okay, got something on me, some dust. Okay, I put the map down now. So we're here this afternoon with you. It is 2 o'clock. Nathan Scott, Tom Brannon, with this line of storms moving in, and was looking a little bit sinister out in Oklahoma in McCurtain County, which bumps up to Polk County. Polk County is our THV11 viewing area, and the National Weather Service is still keeping an eye on that region and that line in southwest Arkansas and the Arklatex area, Oklahoma, southeast Oklahoma, northeast Texas, and Louisiana.
So yeah, they're watching the one we talked about, which is going to be approaching the community of Cove and Hatfield. It's broad, it's not tightened up, so that's some good news. And they're also watching another area of rotation. So 2 storms they're keeping a close eye on. And this is a very fluid situation. You know, it could happen within one scan, you don't see anything, and the next scan, the rotation picks up, and they're going to issue a tornado warning. So it's just a case by case, every 5 minutes or so, they'll continue to evaluate the situation.
Hey, let me just mention this, because we have a viewing area that we adhere to. Polk County is the only county in western Arkansas that is our responsibility. Those counties here in the orange, that Little River, Howard, Sevier, Miller, this is Shreveport. So if a tornado warning is issued here, we won't go to THV11, we'll keep it on plus, but as soon as those get into Pike and Montgomery and Nevada, Clark, that's when we will break on with tornado warnings. So, this happened back in Easter. I don't like interrupting sporting events. I know it makes people mad, but folks, tornado warnings and the possibility of having a tornado down your street far outweigh a sporting event. We want to make sure that your family is safe and you're safe, and you can still be mad at us, but that's our job. Okay?
Also, to add to that, we know how to read the data. A lot of people say, well, they could just look at the app and follow the radar themselves. People do not understand how to find rotation on radar. They don't know exactly what they're looking at. You need to have trained professionals that know, 1, what you're looking at, and 2, where it's headed. Because storms can change tracks, and you don't want to make an assumption that could get you into trouble very easily. That happens to storm chasers. I mean, I just saw a couple days ago, there was this big supercell in Texas, and it was moving to the northeast rotation, but then it switched over to the northwest. Like the rotation built in a different location. That happened with the tornado, the El Reno tornado, that actually killed storm chasers because they thought it was going northeast, and then all of a sudden the storm shifted and went down to the south and southeast and caught a lot of people off guard. So we're here. It's a fluid situation, and that's why we always need to be on air. And yes, sometimes it seems like we're repeating ourselves, but if nothing is changing at that point, we will be repeating ourselves, but we never want to take the chance to say, okay, we're all clear, and then all of a sudden rotation picks up and you got a tornado. Tornadoes can happen very quickly, they can wrap up very quickly, they can intensify very quickly. That's what happened in 2014. The tornado that happened around Ferndale, it came down and strengthened quickly into an EF2.
Yeah, it was strong when it came down, and it only got stronger as it went into southern Faulkner County. We all know the results of that. And of course, that was a little bit different of a scenario with a supercell thunderstorm that just blew up quick. That is thankfully not the case today. Got a complex of storms, mesoscale convective complex, and on the front end of it, you've got, as Nathan said, you'll probably see a very vivid a shelf cloud out in front of it, a gush of wind, cooler temperatures, and some very heavy rain. But we're also keeping an eye on the potential for tornadoes that may develop along and ahead of that line. Not necessarily supercell, but tornadoes that spin up in that line. That's why we're here on THV Plus this afternoon, and we do welcome you this afternoon. I was about to say it's weather-wise because it seems like you're getting an education this afternoon on products and what we use to track these storms.
But that's what the beauty is with being on this streaming platform, because we can just talk our heads off and we can geek out. We don't have any time constrictions, and we can watch these storms scan by scan and let you know at home, hey, are we seeing something change? Are they going to issue a tornado warning, or is it going to stay more severe thunderstorm warning? So we can get ahead of these storms before they affect you at home, because we want to give you as much notice as possible, and this is one of the best ways to do it.
This is a broader view of the state, of what's happening, and you can see that the line is in, let me move it over just a little bit. You can see that line, and there's a little red box that's northwest of Fort Smith, but all of the orange boxes that line up here are severe thunderstorm warned. That's going to be the case this afternoon as this line moves into west central and then eventually central Arkansas. We're looking at the radar from Shreveport and following that intense line of storms over the southwestern part of Arkansas, Howard, Little River, Sevier counties, a little part of Hempstead County, Polk County still under a severe thunderstorm warning, and the counties in northwest Arkansas. I've mentioned our buddy Scott Covert many times. I don't think he has slept since March. Because it's been severe situation one right after another. I know that he's up there tracking northwest Arkansas, just as Nathan and I are tracking central and southwest Arkansas.
We can go over Storm Track 11 now, because this is looking at the community of Gillum, just to the north of DeQueen, and we've got sheets of rain happening as that line is marching its way across that part of Arkansas. Also, the winds, you can tell, are on the gusty side. Now, I'm going to go over to Y City into Scott County, or pretty close to Y City, and pretty quiet at this time. So the storm has not moved in, although you can look at the top of the screen right there if you can. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. You can't see it too much, but the clouds are certainly becoming darker. The sky is becoming darker as that line is beginning to approach parts of Scott County and moving into Polk County as well, Tom.
Yeah, pushing into those westernmost counties this afternoon, and severe thunderstorm warnings lining up Polk County all the way south, and looks like a part of Scott County. I'm looking at radar, but yeah, follow the view outside. I'll tell you, I'm glad we're getting a little rain here and there, not necessarily the copious amounts. Flooding rain is still a possibility today, just to knock the pollen levels down a notch or two. And once we get this round out of the way, we'll have another round of storms on Friday, leaving us with a fabulous spring weekend. Temperature is a little closer to average. It's been running way above average lately. You've got lots of instability to work with as a storm system moves across the state today. So there's going to be quite a bit of instability with these storms, unstable atmosphere. But luckily, in terms of the overall tornado parameters, Nathan, those are still fairly low, but the damaging wind threat is certainly a little bit higher.
This line will continue to make its way over to the east as the afternoon continues, so it's going to go county by county, and your weather situation is going to be changing. If you're watching us into Montgomery County, Pike County, you look off to the west, I'm sure you start to see the clouds billow in the distance, maybe the sky becoming a little darker in that part of the state. Meanwhile, here in central Arkansas, we just have some fair weather, puffy cumulus clouds. Looks pretty harmless out there at this time, but don't be caught off guard, because things will change rapidly, and this line means business. You don't want to be caught outside when this line is moving through, because I think we'll have around us some gusty winds, and that can bring down some tree limbs, that can bring down some tree branches. So people probably will lose some power. I don't think it's going to be widespread power outages like what we saw with that system that rolled through earlier this month, especially here in Little Rock. Right now, we're not expecting what's known as a belt echo to move through. That doesn't look like it's going to be the case at this time. That could change, though, but there is that possibility we could see maybe a segment of wind that does roll through some parts of Arkansas. producing winds of 60, maybe 70 miles per hour.
Yeah. New warning for Polk County and western Montgomery counties. And I've got us on our live winds mode. And just by looking at our live winds, some very strong wind gusts here from DeQueen up to Wicks. This is in southern Polk County, so Big Fork is going to be in the path of the strong wind gusts here in momentarily. But the outer edge of that severe thunderstorm box is now in western Montgomery County, northern Pike County, and northeastern or western Pike counties also under a severe thunderstorm warning. Let me go back to what it looks like on our radar, and this is reflectivity mode. So the line is making inroads, it's moving quickly. Southwest Arkansas has the greatest parameter for a few tornadoes. Central Arkansas not as much, but we still have the 2 out of 5 risk for damaging winds and the possibility of a tornado. This is, you can take this full if you want, Mike, just to show folks that might be watching us in western Arkansas. Polk County, you know, we have folks that watch us out of Polk County, especially up toward the Rich Mountain area. Did I get that right? Queen Wilhelmina State Park, Rich Mountain?
Yes,
okay,
that's right.
Wanted to make sure I got the right mountain range there. They watched us on Easter Sunday as well, and this is what you got moving through Wicks along Highway 59, some strong wind gusts, and that extends down to DeQueen, a little community by the name of Jewell, Arkansas. So Dirks, Umpire, Big Fork, and then eventually Montgomery County will be in the path of this wall of wind this afternoon. There are the tornado watches that are in effect in yellow. They include a few counties in northwest Arkansas, but a lot of counties in west central in western Arkansas. This is only till 5, so we could see an extension eastward with this tornado watch as we get a little bit more into the afternoon hours. We're beginning to approach the peak heating of the afternoon where we'll have more unstable air to deal with.
And I'm just seeing a report now of a wind gust almost 50 miles per hour in DeQueen. So technically that is below severe weather criteria. Severe weather is usually winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, a 1-inch diameter size hail or greater, and or a tornado. So still gusty winds. You get a wind gust of close to 50 miles per hour. That's going to break down some branches, especially those Bradford pear trees. You know, those things just collapse with a... You just blow on them, it seems like they just fall apart.
Yeah, you can put your arm up on one and they fall apart. Yeah, that's how brittle those trees are. Let's hope you don't have to deal with any power outages and damage at your place. But as we head through the afternoon, we'll get some reports on those power outages.
I'm going to pull that up right now, by the way, just to...
Because he can. He has the technology to pull that up. We'll find out if we have any power outages that are happening around Arkansas. And while he's doing that, there are the counties in southwest Arkansas once again under a severe thunderstorm warning that does include Montgomery County now, Pike County getting close to Daisy. And they're extending this line out, or at least the polygon out. That line is really moving quickly to the east. Let me show you just how fast that line is moving. I'd like to know. Severe thunderstorm warning. And by the way, we're keeping an eye out on the possibility of a tornado. Severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, well, I'm not seeing it there. Okay, well, I'll try this one. It says the line's moving east at 25. Huh, okay. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like it's moving a little bit faster than that. But the line's moving to the east. So some very heavy rainfall, some strong wind gusts, as Nathan mentioned, 40+ mile per hour winds, just under severe criteria. But they must be seeing some stronger winds aloft that aren't quite transitioning down to the ground level just yet.
And once again, we're looking pretty high in the atmosphere, so we don't know the ground truth. And that's why your reports are so important. 501-376-1111. You can send pictures. Sometimes video works, sometimes it doesn't. Make sure that, number one, you are safe. We don't want you going outside trying to get videos, trying to get pictures when the gust front moves in. And also lightning. Do we have a lightning count on that, Tom? If you look at the lightning tool, it might be interesting to see how much lightning we're seeing.
There's so many things to look at.
Yeah, I know. See, I'm used to driving the radar all the time.
So. I'm used to standing and driving one or two things. He's driving all this over here. The lightning count up 300. It's up close to 300. It was 294. So that's your lightning counter this afternoon.
Yeah, so it's going to get rocking and rolling here. We'll see how that lightning count continues going through the course of the afternoon, because this complex has been going through Oklahoma. It weakened a little bit because we had, the loss of daytime heating, but now things are heating back up this afternoon. We have lots of sunshine here in Central Arkansas. So we may see an uptick in this activity as it continues to push its way into Central Arkansas, just because it's going to encounter more of an unstable air mass in place and favorable environment for these clouds to continue to grow higher and higher into the atmosphere and produce stronger updrafts.
Well, that tornado warning remains in effect over just west northwest of Fort Smith. So that's the only tornado warning on the upper end of that line in northwest Arkansas. Those counties were added not long ago into the tornado watch. That would be Sebastian, Crawford, Franklin counties in western and northwestern Arkansas. But to the south, it's all business with that line moving into southwest Arkansas. Polk County, severe thunderstorm warning. Howard, a little part of Montgomery and Pike counties under the severe thunderstorm warning. The line is moving to the east. It's holding together, maybe even intensifying a bit, and strong wind gusts this afternoon are our main concern.
I'm going to take a look at some other radar data here, because now I think we have to get in the situation where we're going to have to look at Fort Smith and also Shreveport's view, especially since southwest Arkansas has a better chance of seeing rotation within those cells. So this is starting to load up and starting to see a little more of a bend in the radar data right there. So when we have a bend in the radar data, that indicates a better chance there could be maybe some damaging wind gusts trying to develop as it approaches Texarkana, it looks like, Tom.
Yeah, from DeQueen down to, it looks like northeast Texas, Burns, but that is the area that we're keeping an eye on. Moving over Highway 59. There we go. Hey, there's Roger. How you doing, Roger? Everything. One of our directors, Roger, is here. Michael Bennett, you still with us? He's still here. Michael is up in the booth. The weather, I got to say this, we have, we're trying to transition as we can into the summertime and the cereal drive, and we're going to have our kickoff breakfast Friday morning in the garden. From 9 to 10.
Yeah.
Because looking at the latest high-res information, there's going to be another area of rain.
But they're not in agreement. The high rapid refresh resolution is not agreeing with her in-house model necessarily. The HER is saying it's going to be more of a complex of a heavy rain, and the graph is not so much. So we'll have to certainly work out the fine details with that.
Well, either way, it looks like rain. Nobody wants to get wet, especially on an outside event. So we're going to move it inside on Friday, and then we get this mess out of the way, and a good-looking weekend is on the way. Let me go back to live radar. And here we go. Let's see if that does it. Because what you're looking at are the live winds, but there's the reflectivity mode. And again, you can see the counties that are under those severe thunderstorm warnings. Got a little bit of a break. Scott County's not under a warning, but the counties to the north of Scott are under severe thunderstorm and even that tornado warning just on the other side of and to the northwest of Fort Smith. And I think that's Sequoia. I have to go back to the map.
I think you are correct. Yeah.
Am I correct? I'm going to have to look at the map.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
This is a narrow window of opportunity where we could see some ugly weather out there, Tom. Once this line moves through, you're done with a threat of severe weather. So right now, you're in the middle of it. Polk County, Howard County, Little River County, Sevier County. But then in the next hour or so, it'll still be raining, but the winds will calm down and we won't see the severe weather threat anymore for that location. So it's just a narrow window, an hour or two that you're in the thick of things, and then things will start to wind down going through the rest of the afternoon, evening from west to east. But that's still a pretty significant rotation, looks like.
And that storm is now tornado warned in northwest Arkansas, just now, just a few seconds ago. Let me pull it up from Fort Smith. There we go.
Yeah, there's definitely some rotation there. So if you know anybody that's traveling towards Fayetteville this afternoon and they're on Highway 49, if this holds together, then that rotation will be making its way across Highway 49. Right now, I'd say pretty close to West Fork and Greenland. if it holds together. It's going to be storming. The storm's going to be rolling through, but does the rotation continue to stick around? That's the big question mark.
Take storm track 11.
You look at the signature on that, Tom, and you can clearly see the rotation within this cell. Just looking at the rain part of this data, as we have that counterclockwise swirl of the heaviest rain. So that's a potent little storm right there. And it's still a radar detected.
Radar detected.
I don't see anything like confirmation-wise on a debris signature when we take a look at the CC. And we would be able to see something with this just because we are so close to the radar looking from Fort Smith. We are 1,500 feet above the surface. So if it was something happening right now, the National Weather Service would definitely see a tornado debris signature where the tornado is lofting debris in the air and you would see a dropout in the CC. So we don't have that just yet. And I'm sure they've got spotters out there in that part of Oklahoma and getting into Arkansas as well. Of course, you're getting into the Boston Mountains once you cross over from Sebastian County into Washington County.
Let's see what they're saying in Tulsa about this. Tightening again, the circulation, this is 216, tightening again, going into Adair, so they'll continue the tornado warning there. Okay. For those of you wanting to know the timing this afternoon, you know, we got kid stuff, got sports going on. Let's go to Max 2 and break down the timing of these storms. It's changed a little bit, but we'll give you the best guess idea that we can from now through 6 o'clock in western Arkansas and even a part of northwestern Arkansas. And central Arkansas, 3 to 9. It might be closer to 3 or 4 o'clock for the Little Rock metro area, just as we're letting out school and letting folks go home for the day. That's kind of the timeline right there, 9 o'clock in eastern Arkansas and in southeast Arkansas. Hopefully these storms will have weakened somewhat. They're expected to do so. As the sun sets, we should lose some of that instability and energy, 6 to 11 o'clock tonight. And so we get this out of the way. And then there is a small risk of severe weather on Thursday. Friday, there's not as much, but we will have another complex move through Friday. And that will be the end of the rain for a while. And the weekend looking good into early next week. So that's kind of the timing for those of you that have things going on this afternoon. Right now, 221 through 6 o'clock, western Arkansas. And then that line will begin to impact central Arkansas, 3, 4 o'clock. Southeast Arkansas by 6 this evening.
I'm going to continue to look at some more cameras, Tom, just to see how things are continuing. So we're going to go back over to Gillum, and looks like things visibility-wise have improved in that parts of Sevier County. Remember, before we were seeing quite a bit of heavy rain, and the visibility was quite down. There's still a little bit of a breeze, but certainly not as ugly as what once was happening. And we did have that 49-mile-per-hour wind gust reported at DeQueen. So it's a little window where you get slammed with some heavy rain, some high winds, and then things quiet down. Here is a Y City, and still pavement's wet. It's raining, but nothing too wild. So that's some good news.
Normally, when we're looking at Y City, it's for snowflakes.
Yes, it is. Yeah, typically they're the ones to check out at first.
I think we can safely say there's no chance of snow in the forecast anytime soon.
We should be done with that until fall now. I'm going to refresh this to see if there's anything new with the power outage situation. And right now, I'm not seeing anything but just 95 customers without power, very slim margin in Sebastian County. We'll continue to watch that through the course of the afternoon because that will really give us an idea of how strong these winds are making their way across the region.
West Central Arkansas, western Montgomery County, Pike County, northern Hempstead County, getting closer to the THV11 viewing area. Severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect, and you can see a fairly pronounced line in that area from Polk County extending down into the Arklatex region. Southern extent here. This is the area that has the greatest risk or the greatest chance of severe weather today. Potentially a tornado could occur here today. If not that, some very strong wind gusts. That brings us on the air this afternoon. You know, we were keeping an eye on a cell just to the west of Polk County that was rotating and had a tornado warning, but within a few minutes the Weather Service dropped that warning. But we wanted to make sure that you folks in Polk County were aware of what was going on, and this line moving into west central and eventually central Arkansas this afternoon will impact your drive home.
We'll go back over to Storm Track 11 because now we're going to do some analyzation of the current atmosphere. So this is from the Storm Prediction Center mesoscale analysis. And what we're looking at is the winds at 5,000 feet above the surface. This is where the low-level jet is usually happening. And when we look at this, you can see there's a corridor of some slightly higher winds, nothing too crazy, but there is a corridor or a belt of some winds moving from eastern Texas over Dallas and then right into the Arklatex area of the country. So these winds can transfer their way down to the surface within the actual thunderstorm, but they can also allow maybe some rotation within the storm. So that's why the National Weather Service went ahead and issued that tornado watch, or Storm Prediction Center issued that tornado watch, just because there are some ingredients in place for the chance there could be a couple storms that do try to show rotation. But looking at this is more of a damaging wind threat versus a tornado threat. Now, when we take a look at the tornado threat, this is what it looks like. This is the significant tornado parameter, and you see where the red core is of the two. That's where this model is showing the highest potential if there was rotation to happen. That's where a quick tornado could also unfold over west central Arkansas and also southwest Arkansas. It's nothing that's screaming out to us like there's definitely going to be a tornado in this area, but we'll just have to see if these numbers continue to remain the same or if they drop. If they drop, that's great news, because that means the tornado potential would be decreasing. If those numbers go up to more of a 3-4 category, then that's going to give us more concern here in THV 11 Weather Department to say, no, okay, the chance of maybe a tornado could be going up for that area. But that's why the National Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center went ahead and issued that tornado watch, because there are some ingredients in place. This is not a slam dunk by any means. We're not going to say there's going to be tornado warnings across the region, but the chance is there, and you always want to stay weather aware and prepared just in case the worst case scenario unfolds.
So with that in mind, we can transfer back to Max 1, and I'll show you the watches, tornado watches in effect. And it wasn't long ago, they added those counties in northwest Arkansas, Franklin, Sebastian, Crawford. This was mainly for western Arkansas. That included Logan County South, but there is a cell that is now moving into Washington County that could potentially produce a tornado. But for the rest of us, flanking to the south and southwest, it's a line of strong thunderstorms with the potential for some strong wind gusts. Those watches are in effect till 5 o'clock. Remains to be seen as we get closer to 5 o'clock and that line gets closer to central Arkansas. SPC may extend that tornado watch a little longer. We'll have to wait and see. That line might weaken somewhat. This is what radar looks like, and there's the tornado warning, and that is in northwest Arkansas. That's not in our THV 11 viewing area, but our sister station is handling that right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect, and if you look closely, you can see those orange boxes. The only county not in a warning right now, Scott County, but Polk, western Montgomery, Howard County. You've got severe Little River counties, a little wedge there of Hempstead County and Pike County for that line of storms that has now managed to move into southwest Arkansas. Again, along that line, you could have some strong wind gusts of 60 plus miles per hour. We're not expecting much hail. And of course, we're keeping an eye on tornadoes that might occur on the leading edge of that line. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue to at least 3 o'clock. And that line moves to the east. We'll see an extension of some of those warnings. Okay. So that's what it looks like from where Nathan and I are standing. The yellow boxes, of course, the tornado watch. The orange boxes are the severe thunderstorm warnings. And as we head through time, let me get up to where I can show you the timing of this. First of all, the risk of severe weather. Yeah, it's a 2 out of 5. Searcy, Little Rock, Clinton, Arkadelphia. It's a 3 out of 5. Mena to the southwest to Texarkana. Again, the greatest parameter, as Nathan mentioned, for a tornado or two. The severe outlook today, you've got the little hatched area. If a tornado does occur in southwest Arkansas, it has the potential of being a strong tornado or an EF2 within 25 miles of a point, and that yellow area extends into central Arkansas. Hail up to quarter-sized or even a little larger for southwest, but I think this is a greater straight line damaging wind threat overall, considering the overall makeup of this line as it moves into central Arkansas. So your storm impacts are all on the low end, including some very heavy rain in a short amount of time. Flash flooding is certainly possible. With our high-res models trying to play catch up here, it's currently 2:30, so you can see just how far behind the high-res model is, at least from the HER standpoint. I need to transition over to the graph and see if the graph has anything different. But that line is in western and southwestern Arkansas. That tells me that the HER's a little slower, so I think by 4 o'clock it's either going to be knocking on our door in central Arkansas, or it won't be long behind. So that's the timing through the day. It should fall apart a bit, but still thunderstorms and a heavy rain threat through the nighttime, and overnight we'll see that system shift out of the way. Tomorrow could be some sun in the afternoon ahead of the next system that's going to come in here on Friday. There you go. That's why, and it covers up a good part of the state. Friday morning, 9 o'clock, and we were to have a kickoff party in the Weather Garden on Friday. By the way, you're working all shifts on Friday. I'm not coming back in after 9 o'clock. Just wanted you to know that. Hopefully you looked at the schedule.
All shifts?
Well, the evening ones. The evening ones.
Okay.
No, I think Tracy's working.
Okay, I was like,
it's okay.
When you say all shifts, we got a lot of
surprise,
shifts.
Nathan, guess what?
Yeah.
Visible satellite perspective.
Not the way
cool.
to say that in the middle of a stream. Like, by the way, you're doing 24 hours.
Right.
Okay.
You've done
I can't
it before.
say no to you because we're live on air.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the satellite view now because this is a very important part, Tom. We have shield of cirrus clouds being blown off from the storms, blowing up into West Arkansas, and then we have these cloud streets. You can see these cumulus clouds are almost kind of just lining up from south to north right across East Arkansas. We're waiting on this system to move into central Arkansas into a more unstable environment. It's warm out there. I don't know how warm it's gotten already. It's probably into the low, possibly mid 80s, and it's humid. So we've got some storm fuel to work with for these storms to build and intensify as they make their way into central Arkansas. Also, Tom, we have to mention sometimes geography can play a crucial role in the formation of a tornado. When wind goes over hills and mountains, it can enhance the wind flow or actually weaken the wind flow dependent upon the orientation of how everything is working within the actual storm cell. So we have a lot of things to watch as the day wears on. It may be, oh, this is weakening, and then, oh, it's strengthening. We've seen it skip over before, where the gust front will go so far in advance that the storms may skip over a county or two and then intensify just off to the east. So there is a gust front. There is a pool of cooler air that's trying to push out away from this line of storms, and that could be the trigger for new development as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon, getting closer to central Arkansas.
And that's pretty well depicted there on Storm Track 11 out ahead of that main line.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and loop this. Yeah. Where you see the reds, I mean, that's very heavy rainfall happening at this time. Now, this is looking pretty high. This is 11,000 feet, so we'll switch over to more of a Fort Smith closer view, and we lose those brighter colors because we're not as high into the storm. Those reds may have represented more of heavy rain, but also maybe some hail involved producing those brighter colors within that radar data coming from Little Rock. This is a closer radar view from Fort Smith, but still we have some heavy rain right now in Mena. By the way, why doesn't Mena have a traffic camera? Y-City has one, but Mena doesn't
have one.
I think we need to get one out there. I mean,
if you're hearing us from Mena and you have any influence there, that would be nice. A couple of 3 traffic cameras would be great.
Yeah, I mean, Mena has traffic.
Yeah. So there's a visible satellite with the temperatures, Nathan. We're at 65 in DeQueen now. Rain-cooled conditions, 68 Fort Smith. But notice we've got a lot of warmth and humidity out ahead of that line. Little Rock is at 83, 85 in Pine Bluff, maybe 87. It's only 234. We might hit the upper 80s in southeast Arkansas today.
And that's just fuel to the fire for these storms to maintain their strength or intensify as they get closer and closer to central Arkansas. We want to definitely probably have a time lapse of the camera as this line approaches for Michael in the back, just to get an idea. Probably want to, I don't know if you can record that or not, but that'd be something cool to show later.
Michael can do anything. That's Michael Bennett.
I don't know if they have too much going on.
I don't know if he's even listening to us. Can you hear us, Michael?
We don't hear anything right now.
Or it's probably Roger. Michael, I think his shift ends at 2:30. Right. Okay. What we're going to do is we want to turn the camera looking west so that we can watch and record that line of storms as it gets closer to us. Thank you.
Because it could be a shelf cloud, and I might have a picture of a shelf cloud in our system.
Why don't you take a look at it? I can do a little forecast update. He's going to look for that. That'd be fine. And I'll just update if you're just joining us here. It's 2:35 THV 11 Plus. Nathan Scott, Tom Brannon. You know, we had this tornado warned storm that was west of Polk County, decided to jump on THV 11 Plus. It's our policy that if we do get a tornado warning, we'll jump on THV 11 as well. Luckily, we haven't had a warning, knock on wood, here in the studio. We could knock on wood, not a warning yet. At least not in our viewing area, but Polk County is in our viewing area. Montgomery County, Pike County. Once those storms get closer, if we do get a warning, we'll break in and be on both platforms as well as our YouTube and hopefully Facebook Live. But there are the watches this afternoon, extending from Fayetteville down to Fort Smith and Mena. That line has now moved, I think, far enough away that we're probably going to see the westernmost counties get dropped from that tornado watch here in the next 30 to 45 minutes. This is what our radar loop looks like, and you can see that line of storms, strong storms, extending from Scott County through Polk, Howard, Little River, Sevier counties, and it's bowing out a little bit, so some strong wind gusts are indeed possible with that. And here's showers in what Nathan was talking about. Could have a nice a gust front. You can see that, as well as a big shelf cloud as we approach central Arkansas later this afternoon. Again, you've got several severe thunderstorm warned cells, and that's only going to continue through the afternoon. We've got all of the radars up and running from Little Rock, Fort Smith, and even down into Shreveport. Severe weather risk continues, a 2 out of 5, a 3 out of 5 in far southwest Arkansas for the afternoon and evening hours. And our main concern, I think, is going to be the damaging wind gusts of wind 60 plus. We could see some hail, and a brief tornado can't be ruled out. And in southwest Arkansas, if a tornado does occur, it has the potential of being strong for all the reasons that Nathan mentioned a few moments ago. You've got a stronger low-level jet there, more parameter there. But as you work into central Arkansas, it may not be as much, but you still have the risk of severe weather. There are the storm impacts for the day with a low-end damaging wind, hail, tornado, and flooding. I do want to mention there's still a flash flood watch in effect, and let me see if I can locate that graphic. If not, then I'll skip ahead to the timing. Where is that flood watch? Here it is right here. I'm going to give me just a minute and I'll pull it up for you. But western Arkansas currently in the flash flood watch, not central Arkansas, but the western part of the state. And by the way, I do need to mention this. We are under a weather impact alert for this afternoon for drive time, and that covers the central Arkansas metro area. It's coming up. It takes just a moment. Computers sometimes don't work as quickly as you'd like them to, but it's coming. And there we go. Flash flood watch now includes Saline County, Grant County, Hot Spring, Dallas County, Ouachita counties, not Pulaski, but a good part of western Arkansas because of the heavy rain threat that's going to accompany this line of storms heading into central Arkansas this afternoon and into tonight. Got it ready yet? Are you still working on it back there?
I have it ready. I had to get into my workspace because I didn't want to lock you out of yours.
Yeah, we actually need a third workspace here so that we're not doing that. There, at times there's 3 of us working on these computers, but I transitioned out into mine here because I can work it better. Yeah. We just have different preferences. But let's talk about the shelf cloud.
Yeah, so we go to Max 2 now. And you may see something very similar to this picture. This is from Hot Springs back, I think, a few years ago. But let me go ahead and take off the blue and the arrows there. We'll just walk you through. So this is certainly a scary looking cloud. If you see this heading in your direction, what is it?
The SLC.
That's a good acronym for it.
Yeah, Buckner coined that, by the way. SLC, scary looking clouds.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're outside and you see this, you're going to batten down the hatches and get inside as soon as possible. When you see something like this, it's not an indication of a tornado. This is a different situation. As the thunderstorm collapses and that warm air becomes a cooler pocket of air because of all the hail and the rain evaporating and then also coming down to the ground, you get this cold pool of air, and that's why before a storm arrives, you usually open up the windows when it's a hot and humid day because you want to get that nice breeze in. So that nice cool breeze actually is going to be heavier than the surrounding air. So as that pushes out away from a thunderstorm or a thunderstorm complex, it forces the air ahead of it up. So that cold air undercuts the warmer air in advance of the storms, and as that warm air gets forced up, it cools, condenses, and produces this low-hanging cloud known as a shelf cloud. And once again, you see one of these, get ready for some rapidly changing weather. Sometimes you can get a wall of wind shortly after you see this start to make its way over your neighborhood, but certainly you will have probably a round of heavy rain. And I think we're going to have a situation where we'll have a shelf cloud really make its way across a large part of the state in advance of this squall line as it pushes off to the east, Tom. So once again, lots of pictures. We'll probably be coming in saying, what is this? This is a scary cloud. Do we have to be worried about a tornado? This is a shelf cloud. This is not a wall cloud. A wall cloud, it does not basically go over the entire horizon. A shelf cloud does. It'll take up the entire horizon and look like a wave coming in your direction.
I do want to pass along, there's a couple of more warnings here this afternoon for Montgomery, Polk, and Pike counties. Severe thunderstorm warnings until 3:30 today. And the threat is going to be some wind. Here's what it looks like on radar this afternoon. The counties, here's Montgomery County. Now it's most of Montgomery. You've got Pike and I said, what did I say, Scott? Polk, okay. So Polk County still with a severe thunderstorm warning. This is our radar shot showing that long area of severe thunderstorms moving to the east. The line's moving at 25 miles per hour. And it's going to be getting close to central Arkansas, Little Rock here, probably within the next couple of hours, probably by 4:30.
Yeah, you can extrapolate that, Tom, if you look at that, because that's over the past hour looking at that scan. So you break it down and you say, okay, this is around 2:30, that's going to be around 3:30, that's going to be around 4:30. Yeah, so I think it's going to arrive here probably in the metro by 4 o'clock, if maybe not a little bit sooner than that. Unfortunately, that's when everybody's starting to get out of work.
Yeah.
And just because we may not necessarily have severe weather, you get heavy rain, and you know what happens.
Right.
Interstate 630, you get heavy rain, and that water just ponds up right there, very close to University and Mississippi, and that causes problems because of hydroplaning. I mean, a storm does not have to be severe to produce hydroplaning issues, so give yourself some extra time. If you can leave work a little earlier before the line of storms arrives, that's great. Otherwise, maybe stay at work a little bit later and wait it out until this heavy rain moves out.
I-30.
You won't be out there driving that.
I-30 Saline County headed toward Hot Springs. That's another area that always seems to pool up and pond up with heavy rainfall. And another place that always seems to pond up and pool up is the roadway leading into our boss, Marty Shack's neighborhood. So they got to be careful Let's see if he's paying attention. That's why I'm doing that. I can see him upstairs, and this is a little bit of a delay. We'll
yeah,
see
it's
if
a
he's
delay.
paying
It could be
attention.
1-2 minutes delay.
Yeah, he'll look down here in just a moment as to what we're doing. If he's not on, he might be on a call, a Zoom call. I don't know, but yeah, it is looking
I thought you were
like
going to say the weather garden.
the weather garden. That's the best time that we wash the weather garden. When we get those heavy rains, it washes all the dust and pollen and whatnot away. And I got to give a shout out, since we're on THV 11 Plus, things are a little more loosey goosey here, to Michael and his crew. They cleaned up the weather garden for us in advance of our big opening of the summer cereal drive, the breakfast, the big breakfast we were going to have. He said, all for nothing, because the rain looks like it's going to happen to us on Friday morning during that time. But we'll transition over to the Arkansas Food Bank and have a great morning. This afternoon, we're tracking storms. It's a line of strong to severe thunderstorms. In fact, within the line, you've got several severe thunderstorm warnings. Montgomery County, Pike County, and Polk County, the new counties under warnings. And you can certainly see a solid line of red and also a lot of wind with that line moving to the east about 25 to 30 miles per hour. There's also a bit of a tornado threat with that, and that's why we're streaming with you on THV 11 Plus this afternoon. What day is this? It's
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay, I believe you. It is, and the month of April ends tomorrow. I don't think there's 31 days in April, 30 in April, so tomorrow's May the 1st. We still have severe weather season continues through May, but if it would just settle down a bit, I think that would make us all happy. We're all a little weary because of, we got a little severe weather fatigue because of these rounds of strong to severe thunderstorms.
Yeah, but this scenario today is not going to be like what we have been seeing. If you're just joining us, this is going to be a more typical severe weather scenario we're used to here in Arkansas. As the line of storms will advance its way to the east, it's going to be loud. It's going to produce quite a bit of lightning, maybe some pockets of damaging wind gusts, 60, 70 miles per hour. Some folks may lose some power. Some folks may lose some trees or some tree branches. The tornado threat, it's there. It's pretty low. And for the most part, we're looking at what are known as weak tornadoes, EF0, EF1s. That can still produce damage, though. That can still bring down large trees. That can still do structural damage. It won't wipe a home away necessarily, but you still want to take this situation seriously if a tornado warning is issued for your location. And that is a possibility. And these tornado warnings may come with little to no warning, just because they'll be embedded within the line of storms. And you may not even know the difference, because it could be a wall of wind with a rotation embedded within it that may be 10 to 20 miles per hour stronger than the actual straight line winds involved.
I mentioned that we have a weather impact alert this afternoon for the storms as they get closer to central Arkansas. I'm going to try to pull that graphic up, give you the timing of that, although it may have shifted a little bit, but 3 to 8 is a good bet. It's really for the afternoon and evening commute. The folks going home from school today, storms producing some very heavy rainfall. School buses will have to keep a close eye on things. And all modes of severe weather, and you can throw in the flash flooding risk as well, although damaging wind is on the high end or the higher end. You could see some hail and possibly a tornado, but that's on a very low end. So have a way to receive severe weather information, including THV 11 Plus, your app, THV 11 app. You can follow us. Well, let's say you have to go to your safe place. If you open up your app and hit watch, then you'll see Nathan and I tracking these storms for you this afternoon. Just have a way to receive weather information. If you're going to be out and about, you still have kids, softball, baseball, sporting events outside, soccer. I don't know if they're practicing or playing soccer right now, but that's one of those things where you're out in an open area. You may not have time to get to shelter, at least the proper shelter, so just give yourself plenty of time and make sure you got ways to receive those warnings this afternoon.
Just a reminder, lightning. Lightning can travel 10, 15 miles away from a storm. You can get struck by lightning when there is no rain happening, when it seems like the storm is still far away and the skies are just dark. You don't want to wait for what's technically referred to as sharp lightning. I mean, that's what we used in Maryland when my dad was playing softball. He would be out there playing softball. I used to be terrified of storms, and I'd be on the bench, and I would, as a kid, be like, Dad, it's time to come in, because we saw that sharp lightning, but that was just not smart.
I don't think I've ever heard sharp lightning.
It was not smart to be out there.
No.
They spent way too much time out there. They waited until the sharp lightning or when it rained. And even then, when I was a little kid, I was like, no, this is serious. But again, the fear of storms really played a huge factor in that. But lightning strikes do happen. I knew a guy before college graduation. He went out, he was helping his dad clean up his neighbor's yard. They thought the storm had passed. They finished up what they needed to do, and he was about to get in the truck. Lightning hit him and killed him. And there were trees all around.
But it hit him instead.
It hit him instead.
And
Just an unfortunate circumstance. Yeah. And you think, oh, the storm has passed. We're good. No.
Not necessarily.
Anytime you hear thunder, that is a clear sign that you are close enough to the storm to get struck by lightning. Lightning is random. Yes, it does typically follow the tallest structure, whether a tree or building, but not necessarily.
Recently, I've seen pictures and videos of folks that are maybe on top of a mountain, and they've got a thunderstorm nearby, and their hair stands on end.
Oh yeah,
and they think that's so cool.
Yeah, that
ain't cool. That's you could be hit at any moment. So if you're out and you feel that tingle and you feel your hair start to go up like static electricity, well, that's really lightning. Then you'll want to try to go ahead and get into a safe place.
Yeah, and there's
squat down.
Some unusual circumstances where it's known as a bolt from the blue. So the sun's out, there's blue sky, but there could be a big, massive cloud in the distance, and the lightning developed within the amble head of that cloud and then went 15, 20 miles. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.
I'll tell you where it happens to me. I live in West Little Rock, and at the foot, basically, of Chenal Mountain. We've got those television towers out there. Storm can be miles away, it seems, and you see the flash, and then boom! I mean, it wakes you up, and it makes you, just
gets your
startles
attention.
you, gets your attention real quick. Those giant television towers out on Chenal Mountain, nothing more than big lightning rods. All right. Looks like I think we had another new warning that was issued. What I want to do is cover the watch. Once again, the tornado watch extends into Garland and Hot Spring County. The counties that are in orange are under the severe thunderstorm warning. That's Pike County, that's Montgomery County, also Nevada, Hempstead counties, all the way down to Fayette and Miller counties. They're under severe thunderstorm warnings. Come on over.
I was just coming in. A lot of Abby's on the phone with Polk County, but we've gotten a lot of calls from our viewers there saying they're seeing a tornado.
In Polk County?
Yes.
Okay.
Near Wicks and
let's.
Brannon.
Well, I mean, we're talking with the National Weather Service.
They haven't said anything.
I know. I know you aren't, but I just
The worst of the weather is over. It could be scud.
Yeah. It could be seeing some of that.
What is scud exactly? Well, it's a very low hanging cloud. It looks like a tornado sometimes, but if it's not rotation, it's not twisting, then it's just a harmless scud cloud. But scud is basically when you have a lot of inflow within the storm that it cools, condenses very quickly to produce that low hanging cloud. That's usually fragmented.
Yeah.
A tornado is not going to be fragmented.
No.
It's going to be a solid condensation funnel. We've been keeping a close eye on Polk County. We have not seen anything.
Share that with you guys because we've gotten a few texts and calls.
Yeah,
What's up?
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching out in Polk County. Shayla Teeter, the boss, joining us. You want to put a mic on and come join us? No, thank you. You sure? Let us know. You could hang out with us. Strengthening along the line in Polk into Scott County. Latest radar data also showing an increase in cold cloud tops to balance better as cold pool of air is surging east quicker now. All right, severe thunderstorm warning now for Yell, Montgomery, and Scott counties. And there you go. Scott finally got in on the on the action in Scott County. It looks like it's about the eastern half of Scott. That line is now getting closer to west central Arkansas. Here's Yell County. There's Montgomery County. And Nathan's going to take a look back and see if there was anything. You're not seeing anything, are you? And it's
I'm
right.
seeing an uptick rotation now into southeast Polk County, like right there. There's definitely, and this is the tornado vortex signature that we're seeing on Storm Track 11. And there is an uptick in the NROTs within that. Let's go with Storm Track 11 if we can. Thank you, Roger and Michael. So there's Big Fork. What we're watching is we've got the blues go to a green, and there's even a speck of yellow that pops up just to the southeast of Big Fork, Tom. So
could be something there.
That's interesting. And then also we're going over the Ouachitas.
Coming out with a tornado warning for Polk County. That is coming down. So we'll need to go ahead and get ready to transition to THV 11. Polk County tornado warning is coming. So we'll do that, and what we'll do is I'll step over, introduce, and we'll come back to Nathan with Storm Track, since we have that on NROT, folks. All right? Let's go ahead and break in. Coming on the air this afternoon, thank you for joining us. We've been on THV 11 Plus, Nathan Scott, Tom Brannon. A tornado warning has been issued for Polk and Montgomery counties, also an extension there into Scott and Yell counties. And we're going to talk about what we're seeing real quick. Yeah, radar's fine. Here's the area, the tornado warned storm that is in eastern Polk County. And there's a little bit of rotation, at least strong enough rotation that the Weather Service said we're going to put a warning on it. Polk County, THV 11 viewing area. It's going to go into Montgomery County eventually, possibly into southern Scott. So Yell County is going to be up road. Nathan Scott joining us this afternoon. Let's find that area of rotation near Big Fork, Arkansas. The cell is moving to the northeast. There's a line of storms here moving to the east about 25 to 30, and we'll show you where the more likely area of rotation is located. There's Big Fork on Highway 8, just to the west of Big Fork, where those colors come together, the blues and the reds. That's our couplet. Nathan, that's where we're finding the potential for some rotation this afternoon.
Tom, we were just analyzing this on Storm Track 11, and before we went on air here and before the National Weather Service issued that tornado warning, there certainly was an uptick in the pinpoint rotation tool. As we go back a few scans, it was looking pretty harmless, but then we went from the blues to the greens, and then a speck of yellow popped up, and also that triangle. That is a tornado vortex signature, so that's the software saying there's enough rotation with this cell that it's going to be close to producing a tornado at any moment. It may have produced a tornado. We were getting maybe some reports from Polk County saying there was something spotted in the parts of Polk County. This is pretty low to the ground when we take a look at the mountains, the Ouachitas, and that could enhance the flow as well. Right, so Big Fork is definitely in the path of this storm. It is moving to the northeast about 30 miles per hour, but there's that latest scan, Tom, and it weakened.
Yeah, it weakened, but then there's a little bit of an uptick north of Big Fork. So you've got this line of wind moving through this area, and within that line of wind, you could get these brief spins, these brief tornadoes that occur. Also from the newsroom, they were talking about southern parts of Polk County near Grannis, Arkansas. They were reporting the possibility of maybe a funnel cloud, possibly a tornado. And if you back this up and take it to the northeast, and that's probably what they were looking at, this rotation. So that's why Polk County. You folks are under the tornado warning this afternoon. And this warning is going to continue upstream into Scott County and Montgomery County. It's all a part of a line that is now transitioning from Oklahoma, Texas into western and southwestern Arkansas. The greatest parameter for a possible tornado exists in southwest Arkansas. There's an enhanced risk of severe weather, but there's also a little bit more low-level wind energy. And there's that line. Here's Waldron. And there's the line extending all the way to the south, just to the west of Murfreesboro, moving through Dirks, Arkansas. So Mount Ida is going to be in the path of the line and the potential for that tornado if it continues to hold together. So we've got the tornado warning in effect right now. This is for Polk into Montgomery County. These counties are part of the THV11 viewing area. This is what Storm Track 11 looks like. We can go back to Max 1 and show you what it looks like on our live winds mode. We're looking for a couplet. If these names sound familiar to you, Missouri Mountain, here's Big Fork, Missouri Mountain, McKinley Mountain. It's right out here. That's where we're finding the more likely area of rotation just to the south of Highway 8, but we can also see some very strong wind gusts within and along that line. That warning remains in effect till 3:45 this afternoon, Nathan.
I'm going to go ahead and put a track on this, Tom. It's going to the northeast at 30 miles per hour, so we'll give it about 35 miles per hour. So once again, Big Fork is in the direct path of this potential tornado. It's a Doppler radar indicated tornado warning. But here you go, some of the towns, Big Fork, 307, Pine Ridge, around 319.
Yeah, Huddleston, 324. You've got Odin, Pencil Bluff, and Sims. And since it's a day where we're expecting some strong to severe thunderstorms and possibly a tornado or two, we like to extend it on occasion out beyond that polygon to give folks upstream a little more time as well. Here's Montgomery County, Pencil Bluff, Mount Ida, Yell County, you would be next, and a lot of southwest Arkansas currently with severe thunderstorm warnings with that line moving through. And you can see this area of red. That's our tornado warning with the area of concern now in southeastern Polk County, and the cells moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. It looks like Howard County was just lifted from the severe thunderstorm warning. And what you're looking at is when we have these warnings, there's certain criteria and categories. This is a tornado warning, just a regular radar indicated tornado warning, but we can get into confirmed, considerable, catastrophic tornadoes, but this one's just radar indicated at this time. And again, it's all a part of this line of storms moving into west central, southwest Arkansas. It will have damaging wind gusts along with some very heavy rain. Flash flood watches remain in effect. There's that tornado warning for Polk into Montgomery County until 3:45. Anything new?
Nothing new to report, Tom, but those severe thunderstorm warnings that we are looking at, they do have, like you said, that tornado possible tag. So even if you're under severe thunderstorm warning, do not be surprised if it may go to a brief tornado warning, just because we're in a situation where we have a line of storms and there could be a quick little bit of rotation that pops up, and therefore that's when a tornado warning could certainly pop up. I'm going to go back over to Storm Track 11 now, because there could be a new area of rotation trying to develop within that same line. I'm seeing the one rotation over Big Fork, but there's also another rotation. This is along Highway 88. So between Odin and Mina, if you're familiar with that area, there could be some rotation happening within that line. And it's going to be rain wrap, Tom.
Yeah, probably not going to see much of it. These aren't the types of storms you're going to go out and on your back porch or whatever and look for it, and we certainly hope you don't do that. But in Arkansas, that happens on occasion. But there's that line, and within the line, we're getting some strong rotation. That's prompted the tornado warning. Here's Odin, Arkansas, Big Fork. So the new area of rotation developing just to the north of Big Fork. Here's our polygon. This is going to take a track out of Polk County into Montgomery County and then eventually Yell County. So if you live in western Montgomery or southern Yell County, you're going to be in the path of this line of storms if it holds together. Again, with these types of thunderstorms this afternoon, they'll be quick. They will come together quick, they'll weaken, but then they may strengthen down the road a bit. Let's go back to Max 1 and give you an idea of what it looks like with our reflectivity mode. Here is that line, and there's that polygon. And these storms are getting closer to central Arkansas. The timing, this is 3 o'clock. The timing, I think, 4 o'clock, 4 to 4:30, moving into the Little Rock area. And that's just, that's not good because of the rush hour drive home, kids going home, school buses taking kids home from school. So work and school are going to be impacted by this line of storms and the potential for a tornado here in Polk County. And you can see that polygon again. It reaches into southern Scott and eventually Yell and takes up a little bit of Montgomery County, western Montgomery County, with the area of rotation in eastern, northeastern Polk County this afternoon. Haven't seen anything new from the Weather Service on this, but I'm sure they're going to keep it going, Nathan.
Yeah, as long as that rotation still remains in place, Tom, they're going to continue with that situation. And this line is advancing its way off to the east. It's a window of opportunity where things could get a little bit on the rough side. Doesn't last very long, so things are already starting to wind down into parts of Oklahoma. So once this line moves through, you're done with the threat of severe weather. But we continue to watch out for this line as it is making its way into more of an unstable atmosphere here in central Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. We have the sun out. There's a mixture of sun and clouds. Temperatures have warmed up into the low to mid 80s. There's a lot of storm fuel in place for this line to maintain its strength or intensify as it moves into central Arkansas. Therefore, expect rapidly changing weather conditions as this line continues to push its way off to the east, Tom.
There's that line. Western, southwestern Arkansas, all of the counties you see there in orange are under a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, if they cancel the warning, we'll go back to plus. And when we go back to plus, Nathan and I will stay up until our newscast, just because this is going to be a very impactful line moving into central Arkansas. But you can see it extends all the way up western, northwestern Arkansas, getting the northern extent of that. We've had a couple of tornado warnings on the other side in Oklahoma that have affected those northwest Arkansas counties, and earlier this afternoon just to the west of Mena. And now it's eastern Polk County, and it's moving into Montgomery County. There could still be some rotation with this storm as it moves to the east. The line is moving east, storm's moving to the northeast, and you get those cells individually within that line. If you happen to live in Yell County, if you live in let's say the northern part of Montgomery, even let's say western Perry County, folks, you might want to go ahead, just kind of get things prepped just in case. We're not expecting any huge major severe weather event today, but certainly within this line there could be some brief tornadoes. Again, they'll develop and then they'll weaken and they'll strengthen once again just down the line. There's that line. You can certainly see some intense rainfall, lightning with it. This is Montgomery County. Here's Mount Ida. In the area of concern, looks like it's, Nathan, going to be moving out of Polk County and Montgomery County pretty soon. Do we have a better viewpoint of any rotation on Storm Track 11? Why don't we take a look at that? There you go. And this is, this now shows that it looks like it's in Montgomery County, traveling toward the Odin and Sims area. This is where we find the area of rotation. One time you got that green speck, a little bit of a kink here. We'll back it up. Was here, that one's weakened, but this one coming together, it looks like it might again be cycling down around the Big Fork area. So now I think we're seeing a better opportunity here in Montgomery County. If you live in Odin, Sims, up to Story, Arkansas, here's Yell County up here. This is our velocity mode, and we're able to see the winds rotating within the storm that could possibly produce a tornado. Here it is, 3:06. This warning is in effect until 3:45 this afternoon for Montgomery, Polk, and Scott, although I think Polk is probably going to be cleared here very shortly. So this would be Montgomery and Scott counties. Montgomery and Scott County tornado warning. There you go. We're keeping an eye on that region right there that's within that line. And also within that line, we're looking at some very strong straight line winds, and I think that's what we're seeing here. Nathan, it looks like it has weakened a little bit more.
The latest scan, seeing that green disappear, that's some good news, but these are very quick rotations, so they may show up for a scan or two and then disappear and then pop up again 5 minutes down the road. So anyone within this line just needs to be prepared for that potential that we could see a quick rotation happen as it makes its way from Montgomery County into Garland County, eventually here into the metro.
Mount Ida, I think you're just on the eastern side of that polygon, but you keep your guard up because it may shift a little. There it is right there. There's your line, in the area of concern of rotation would be right here, riding along just on the northern part of Montgomery County. And just to give you an idea, you've got Glenwood, there's Murfreesboro, here's Pike County under a severe thunderstorm warning, and a severe thunderstorm warning also extends into Yell County with this line capable of producing winds of 60 plus miles per hour. A little hail is possible, and of course this afternoon we're hitting the peak heating of the day as well, so lots of fuel for these thunderstorms, or for this line of thunderstorms to feed off as it moves to the east. Eastward movement of the line about 30 to 35. The cells are moving independently to the northeast. Once again, this is back to velocity mode or wind mode, and we're looking from Fort Smith. It's getting a little bit out of that. This is where we kind of see the radar disappear.
We can take Max 1, please.
Okay.
Just to show more communities.
Yeah. Here's Pencil Bluff, northern Montgomery County. And if anything is spinning, it's right here along Highway 88 near Pine Ridge this afternoon. So Pine Ridge, if you can hear us, if you're watching us, then you hopefully are in your safe place. Don't take it pretty seriously. Gaston Mountain, there's Hog Jaw, Odin, you're all within this polygon and the potential for a tornado that is moving to the northeast at this time with this line of thunderstorms. Okay. National Weather Service hasn't put out anything new on it, not in the last few minutes or so. But the tornado watch, there is one of those that continues till 5 o'clock for this area, just to the west of Little Rock, not including Little Rock, but Garland County is included in the tornado watch until 5. If the line holds together, or maybe there's some further strengthening this afternoon, then more counties, including Pulaski and Saline, may be included in that next extension of the tornado watch through the evening hours. And again, this is the area that we're looking at. It's kind of hard to see. Sometimes when we have those supercell thunderstorms, we can see a tighter rotation, a tighter couplet. This is within a line and it's showing some rotation, but not nearly as much as you would see with an individualized cell. But it would be right in this area. Here's Pine Ridge, Highway 88. Odin and Pine Ridge are riding along Highway 88, so Odin would be in the path of this, and then eventually Pencil Bluff, and then Gibbs, Arkansas. This is all in Montgomery County, northern and northwestern Montgomery County this afternoon. Okay, tornado warning till 3:45. We got a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30. If we want to take a quick reset and go back to more of a statewide vantage point, we can give a few more folks an idea of what's happening in western and southwestern Arkansas this afternoon. Nathan will certainly keep an eye on things for us. We're looking from the Fort Smith radar. This is our live winds mode, velocity mode, which helps us pick up those couplets. But you can see the areas of orange. Southwest Arkansas, Pike County, Hempstead, Nevada counties up here in Montgomery County, Yell County, Scott County, and even Logan County. These counties under severe thunderstorm warnings with that line of thunderstorms moving to the east at about 30-35 miles per hour. Individual cells within that line moving a little bit quicker. And we're keeping an eye on this one in Polk County. Polk County's in our viewing area. Polk County, Montgomery County, Yell County, all in the THV11 viewing area. And that's why we're on this afternoon. And as soon as this warning expires, we'll jump back on THV11 Plus. You can join us there. Mention the watches, current watches, tornado watch in effect for the counties in yellow. That does include Hot Spring, Garland, Clark County, as well as Yell County within our area. But really things are beginning to settle down on the very western flank here of that line. So it won't be long, probably the next 45 minutes or so. There are the counties under the tornado warning this afternoon. Polk, Montgomery, Scott, and eventually Yell County will be added if this storm holds together. And Nathan, we were talking on THV11 Plus. This is the likely area of seeing the greatest chance because we've got more wind energy in this part of the state.
Yeah, the low-level jet is in that part of the state, Tom. So with that said, the storms can tap into the low-level jet, and those winds that are about 50, 60 miles per hour can transfer the way down to the surface, but it can also add rotation with these cells. This is the rotation path now that has been documented by our software. So you see the uptick right there southeast of Big Fork. There may have been certainly a quick touchdown. I have not seen anything looking at the debris detector or the CC, but then the rotation picks up once again right along the border of Montgomery County and Polk County. So once again, Pencil Bluff, if this cell begins to rotate once again or continues to maintain its rotation, looks like that rotation path is headed right in your direction. We have not gotten any confirmation that there's a tornado on the ground. This is all Doppler radar indicated, but there's still some information being shown by radar that we do have a little bit of rotation or bits of rotation happening. Still have that broad area just to the northeast of Big Fork at this time. That's headed towards Pencil Bluff. But anywhere within this tornado warning, you want to go ahead and make sure you're taking your tornado precautions. When we switch over to the radar rain data, it's hiding in the rain. So you're not going to be able to see the tornado. It's going to be rain wrapped for the most part. You're going to get the gust of winds, and then you may see the wind swirl a little bit as this potential tornado makes its way across from Polk County into Montgomery County, Tom.
So there is, there's the area that we're concerned with, Polk County, Montgomery County. If we go back to Max 2 real quick, we'll show you a bit of a broader perspective, or we can keep it on Nathan, and Nathan will, it doesn't matter. There's the line moving across. You can see the embedded areas where the lightning is indicating strong storms, and the lightning is a good indicator of a storm that is strengthening or weakening. But you can pick up where we have, it's been canceled. Okay, oh, that's good news. But you can pick up where the severe thunderstorm warnings are located here from Yell County, Montgomery County, down to Pike, Nevada, Hempstead counties. And the line is going to be getting close to the Little Rock metro area around 4 o'clock or so. Policy is that if we don't have a tornado warning, then we like to take you back to programming locally. I will tell you this, you can join us on THV11 Plus, and you can stream us live, a free app download, Samsung TVs, Apple, Roku, Amazon Fire, or you can also follow us on your phone. A lot of folks out there get nervous about severe weather. We understand. Nathan and I are going to be here all afternoon, evening long, until the threat subsides. Tornado watch is in effect for western Arkansas, and we may have a few more tornado warnings, and anytime we have a warning, we'll jump back in.
Before we go over to regular scheduled programming, let's just take a quick look at the line, make sure everything is behaving itself, because they are still watching maybe something into Yell County. So I'll switch over here to the velocity data within Yell County, because there was a little kink close to the area of Harvey.
Max 1.
And Gravely. So you see the little uptick right there along the highway of 28.
There you go.
That we'll have to watch out for going from Scott County into Yell County. Nothing has been issued tornado warning wise, but something we'll have to watch out for over the next few scans, Tom.
All right. The question was just asked too about other circulations that are now beginning to show up here within this line. And what I'll do is, again, no more tornado warnings, but I think they're possible within this line this afternoon. And I'm going to ask our producer, executive producer, he's our assistant news director. What would you like to do, JD? I'm happy to keep it here. Nathan and I can track for as long as you want us to track on THV11, because I think, Nathan, and you probably will agree with me, we'll probably see a few more tornado warnings along this line this afternoon. 2 more minutes? All right, we'll do that. We'll take it 2 more minutes, and we'll just track what's going on.
There's a little circulation right next to Bear Den Mountain. There's a little
right in here,
couplet right
Ridge.
there.
Yeah. So along and in this line, embedded within this line, saw notes from the Weather Service. There are these little areas of spin that have them concerned, has us concerned as well. This is Scott County. Now, technically, Scott County is not a part of our viewing area, but we do have Yell County. Yell County was keeping an eye on they're keeping an eye on some rotation near Yell County. And some counties in southwest Arkansas that do pick us up are under severe thunderstorm warnings at this time. This is our live winds mode, and we're finding those areas of spin. Looks like one right here. There's Pencil Bluff, Arkansas. Here's Gravely, Arkansas. And again, picking up an area that's near Harvey. Here's NOLA. So they may go through these cycles where these spins happen. They may produce a brief tornado and then fall apart. It's the atmosphere and the environment is not as conducive for those strong, long track tornadoes today, but it's those ones that surprise you, just occur very quickly. There's Mount Ida, right there, Montgomery County. So Montgomery County now with a severe thunderstorm warning. There is no tornado warning. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire. Certainly some good news there, but that line moving to the east, and we're going to keep it here. That's fine. This line is going to be moving into Garland County, getting closer to the Little Rock area, more than likely by 4:30. It's moving along very quickly to the east. It's what's happening within the line, getting those little spins, those spin ups that occur on the front side of that line. You're also going to see some very strong wind gusts, and Nathan talked about this afternoon. You're going to see the shelf cloud that's going to be quite a sight. We're going to pick it up, hopefully, moving into the Little Rock area. North side of the Boeing segment they're keeping an eye on that area that's near Harvey, Arkansas. So Nathan, right now, although no tornado warnings, we still have a very formidable line of wind a wall of wind that is going to impact our afternoon and evening commutes across the state.
It's a wall of wind, it's a wall of heavy rain, and we will see things go downhill quickly here in the metro over the next 2 to 3 hours as this line is advancing its way off to the east. The main threat out there today is damaging wind gusts. Pockets of wind, 60, maybe as high as 70 miles per hour. We saw a wind gust report into Queen earlier this afternoon, about 49 miles per hour. So that's just below severe weather criteria, which is 58 miles per hour or greater when it comes to wind gusts. But this is going to be a loud system. You see all the lightning happening into Pike County, Montgomery County, and that's all headed in our direction along with the damaging wind threat. We also have to watch out for these quick, brief tornadoes. This is not a supercell type situation. This is not a long track situation when we talk about tornadoes. And most likely they won't last very long. They will be more on the weaker side for the most part, but even weak tornadoes can create damage, can bring down tree limbs, and can do structural damage as well. So we're going to be here watching this all afternoon along. Once this solid area of thunderstorms moves across your neighborhood and passes, you're done with the threat of severe weather. So things will start to wind down into Polk County, eventually into Scott County. Give it another hour or so, but we'll have to watch out closely here in central Arkansas as the weather will rapidly deteriorate.
Again, severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect in that line that we were talking about. Just pop out. There you go. In this line here. And again, the potential for tornadoes is there today. This is a complex that we've talked about the last couple of days, that we would have a shot getting a little bit closer to central Arkansas this afternoon. And this is our chance of thunderstorms. Some damaging winds, some small hail is possible, and a brief tornado can't be ruled out. Along I-30 here in Hempstead and Nevada County, southwest Arkansas, to Pike County, Montgomery County, and now Yell County, southwestern Yell County. Strong storms, severe storms beginning to get closer to you, and it's what's happening along that line, within that line, that has us on edge this afternoon, and that's why we're in on programming with the potential for a few tornadoes within that line as it moves to the east. Here's Pulaski County, Saline, Garland County. Garland County is the easternmost extent of the tornado watch that was issued earlier this morning. That watch takes us through 3 o'clock this afternoon, 5 o'clock this afternoon. It's going to be extended, I would imagine. And it may include Pulaski. It might include Grant, Jefferson, Lonoke counties. There's your line. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. I don't know where I got 3. 5 o'clock. It's probably because we have all these warnings until 3 and 3:30. And it's after 3 o'clock. It's 3:21. So we're approaching 3:30. The line's picking up a little bit of forward momentum. If you're at home this afternoon watching us, I would go ahead and take our tornado safety precautions, take them seriously. Straight line winds can also knock a few trees down and cause damage to your home. Get your safe place ready to go. And ride it out with us. You can watch us on THV11 Plus. You've got your app at home. You can watch us. Free downloads on both your TV and your phone. There's that line causing all the trouble here this afternoon. And it's a wall of wind moving through central Montgomery and Pike down to Nevada and also Hempstead counties, extending into northern Arkansas. But we're kind of concerned about this area right now. The storms in northwest Arkansas also strong to severe. Could produce a little hail, but primarily it's going to be straight line wind gusts in excess of 50 plus miles per hour. We can go to, there's our, this is our hail now. We're looking for hail here, but you can also see the counties that are under those severe thunderstorm warnings. And not really seeing much hail out of these, Nathan. Again, these weren't supposed to be that prolific hail producers today, more of a wind-driven type of thing.
That's correct, Tom.
Yeah.
And once again, these severe thunderstorm warnings are a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag for Montgomery, Pike, all the way down through Hempstead, Nevada, and down through Texarkana. And then you have a general severe thunderstorm warning for Yell County, but that may need to be upgraded to a tornado possible, since we are still seeing that little bit of rotation about to approach the border of Scott County and Yell County. So Blue Ball and Wall Creek will be in the path of this potential rotation.
All right. Okay, so all the counties that you see in the orange under the warnings, but at any point in time along that line, and this is what makes it tricky, is that by the time the National Weather Service says there's enough rotation there for a warning, the rotation weakens. So That's really the big concern, is knowing that those storms, that line of storms, could produce a very quick tornado, brief tornado, as it moves to the east. And with our live winds, our velocity mode, we keeping an eye on this area near Gravely, Arkansas. This is showing some signs of some rotation. It may strengthen up, then weaken once again as this line moves to the east. There's Highway 80, 28, 27. If those highways sound familiar with you, especially 28, 27, then this is the area that will be eventually impacted in the path. You got Nimrod Lake off to the east. But Gravely, Arkansas, if you live in Gravely, go ahead and make sure that you're in your safe place, just to be safe. Here's Pencil Bluff in Montgomery County. This is toward Yale County. You're probably looking at a pretty good line of wind moving through, but then behind it, that's where the main line is located. It is now pushing into Gravely, Arkansas. Here's Logan County to the north, Montgomery County, Mount Ida to the south. If you live in Danville, here it is 320. I know a lot of schools are beginning to let out in this part of the state. Let's hope the kids can get home and find a nice, safe place to go. Moms and dads might want to say, hey, the weather's getting ugly. Go ahead and go to your safe place in your home just to ride this out. There's Pike County, Daisy. Line is moving through you. I think for the most part, Polk County, Mena, it's heavy rain, and the severe weather threat is going to be backing off quite a bit for you, and eventually Scott in those counties in northwest Arkansas, like Sebastian, Crawford, even Washington and Benton counties here in the next few. But in central Arkansas, between now and let's say 4:30, 5 o'clock, that line of storms will be getting closer to the Little Rock area and may produce some very strong wind gusts of 60+ miles per hour. And of course, those little kinks within the line that could produce tornadoes. And right now, the good news is we don't have a tornado warning, but we have a very prolific line of wind and strong to severe thunderstorms moving into west central Arkansas. Nathan.
Storm Track 11 now, we are looking at the power outages that are starting to add up according to Power Outage US. And you can see they're adding up here into Howard County, where now we have over 4,300 customers without power in Howard County. Pike County, over 3,400 customers have lost power. And also Hempstead County, it's close to 1,800 customers are without power. And Montgomery County, we have just over 130 customers without power. So this line of storms is producing some high winds that is knocking down some tree branches, some trees, and that is causing power outages in parts of the state. As this line continues to advance its way into central Arkansas, I think we'll continue to see it maintain its strength, or it may even intensify. Once again, just because we've warmed things up here, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of storm fuel in place, and now we have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Garland County, Hot Spring County, and Clark County until 4:30. I'm going to take a look at that just to see if it is a general severe thunderstorm warning or if it's a tornado possible tag. It looks like, Tom, it's just a general severe thunderstorm warning at this time.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Thank you for mentioning that. I was going to talk about the new warning that just popped on just a few moments ago. So now Garland County and Hot Spring, Clark counties, you're under the warnings. And if we go back to Max 1, you'll see that these warnings are being issued well in advance. That line is still back in Montgomery and Pike County. Oh, Max 2, my bad. Thank you, JD. Max 2 to show you that line. There it is right here. So the line is still well to the west, but this gives you time to prepare. This gives you time to get your safe place ready. And because there is the potential for a few tornadoes within this line, it's important to go ahead and make sure the kids know what to do. If they're at home by themselves or you've got, elderly, make sure they know what to do with that line moving in. It's going to produce winds in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour. And anywhere along this line, we could be looking at the possibility of a tornado. So there's Scott County, Logan County, Yale County. This line is going to be moving into central Arkansas, Garland, Hot Spring, Clark, all the way down into Ouachita and also Nevada counties. And that's going to be over the next hour or so. The new severe thunderstorm warning is in effect here. Let's go back to Max 1. We'll show you the current warnings being covered up by all the precipitation that we have. And a tornado tag is on a lot of these severe thunderstorm warnings because we have seen those ripples, those eddies in that line that could potentially produce a brief tornado. But severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible tag in the yellow outlined area. I think it's good news though, Nathan, that we don't have a tornado warning, not yet, or we've had one that it's expired, but we want to make sure that we're safe. Going to stay here for a little while longer before we decide to turn it back to our regular scheduled programming. 4:30 is how long that tornado, severe thunderstorm warning is issued for.
I'm going to go back over to Storm Track 11 now. I've got iDrive Arkansas. This is Prescott, Interstate 30, and you can clearly see the sky is beginning to darken just to the left-hand part of the screen as that line of storms is approaching into Hempstead County and eventually into Nevada County. So the breeze is picking up. It's quite breezy there, but this line of storms can pack a punch with some high winds. It's going to be a line of heavy rain and probably some high winds. Yeah. Easily 40 to 50 miles per hour for many locations, but there could be some pockets where it could reach 60 to 70 miles per hour. So here's Prescott, and we were looking basically in this direction, and we saw that line starting to approach Prescott just off to the west. So that's a narrow band of some heavy rain, but we also have some high winds within that. So let me switch over here, and we'll take a look at the winds. I'm going to guess it's probably Little Rock is going to be the best radar. Of course, we're going to be in between radars, so let me switch over and see what Shreveport is showing.
Yeah, Shreveport.
If that's going to be any different. So
yeah, it's a little better.
It's showing a little band of yellow there, Tom, so that could easily be, we're getting into the 40, 50 mile per hour wind zone as it approaches Prescott.
Yeah, and that's, let me take a step back here. And that's also a good indication. You look at the winds toward and away, you're getting a pretty good burst of wind, possibly between 60 and 70, a little higher up in that line of thunderstorms. Capable, if it reaches down to the surface, capable of some damage. But there's Prescott, here's I-30. Arkadelphia, Caddo, Gurdon, you guys are under this severe thunderstorm warning. That line is just to your west. It gives you a little bit of time to prepare. And I think with school getting out this afternoon, folks beginning to head home from work today, gives a little more leeway. Maybe you want to wait it out a little bit longer with this line of wind moving through. Some heavy rainfall, flash flooding is possible, some ponding on the roadways, but there's another vantage point, live radar reflectivity mode from near Hope, so west of Prescott up to Wallaceburg, Antoine, and east of Murfreesboro. That line, strong line, extends into southern parts of Yale County this afternoon. Here's Garland County and Hot Springs. You've got a severe thunderstorm warning. Hot Spring County, Bismarck, eventually Malvern. I would imagine they're going to extend this. And there's Clark County. Here's Caddo Valley. There's Amity, Glenwood over in Northern Pike. And we slap on some lightning. You can see where the thunderstorm's a little more intense there in Pike County and also down around Hempstead County. This line moving to the east, 25 to 35 miles per hour. And within the line, we could see a brief tornado.
National Weather Service just said they're talking with the Storm Prediction Center. They're going to have a new tornado watch coming out momentarily.
No surprise.
That probably include, I think, more of Central
Arkansas. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have that risk. We'll have the threat of a tornado, especially since we're hitting the peak heat of the day as well. Got a lot of storm fuel to work with and just enough wind energy as well. Let's go back over to Max 2. This is our live winds. We're looking at this line, and you can see where the winds are a little more intense here. That is south and east of Daisy. This is west of Arkadelphia, Pike, and Clark County area. There could be, notice how it's turning just a little, bending just a little. So we'll keep an eye on that area for potential tornado warning. The Weather Service will also be looking at that. But strong wind gusts all up and down this line. Here's Yale County, Montgomery, Garland County. Hopefully you know which county you live in. If you live in Garland County, this line is still to your west, but it is going to affect you and impact you here in the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. That's an area to keep an eye on. Tornado watch is in effect for this area till 5 o'clock. It's 3:32. This watch is going to be extended to include more of central Arkansas. Let's go back to Max 1, and we've got that line of storms in motion over the last hour or so, and you can see it's holding together. A very prominent line here moving from west to east, and also an individual cell. It wasn't really a day we expected many supercells to develop, but we'll keep an eye on that cell that's out ahead of this line. And you can see the winds. This is our live wind mode here. It's really more difficult to pick up, those kinks, those areas of spin within that line. But this is from Mount Ida. This is also a good indication of where the strongest winds are occurring. Mount Ida, Norman, Glenwood. Here's Gravely, Arkansas, and western Yell County. So western Yell down to Pike County, Clark County, Hot Spring County. We're beginning to see that area, thunderstorms, that line of storms getting a little bit closer to you. And that was the area here looking from Shreveport toward Pike County that had a little bit more, maybe a little more rotation. What does that look like, Nathan, on storm track from Pike into Clark County? Our NROT tool. In that area, there's Mount Ida. It would be a little farther to the south. We'll move it toward the Pike County area and see if it's really picking up anything. Yeah. There's Daisy, Pike. It was right in that area.
Gonna
right
try
there.
to
Yeah.
switch over to
Seems like everything we're
Shreveport
looking
and
at,
all that.
everything we're looking at seems to be right out of one radar range and on the edge of another.
We'll switch over to Little Rock too. That's Little Rock's view.
Okay.
Sorry, I was we had the new watch out as well.
That has been added. Okay. Well, we'll get to that here in just a moment. I'm sure it includes us.
A large part of the state now.
Large part of the state under a tornado watch for this complex of storms moving through this afternoon, and that's that's expected. There's that line of storms now moving over Glenwood to Mount Ida to Sims, Arkansas. Amity, you're next. Here's Hot Spring County. Here's Garland County. So the line is not far from Garland County. 3:34 this afternoon, and you can see the polygon indicating who's under the warning, and that's all of Garland County. That extends north and west over to Mount Ida. Right now, severe thunderstorm warning for Mount Ida. Hot Spring County, you're under the severe thunderstorm warning, and even down to Clark County. And that warning box all the way into the Danville area in Yell County this afternoon. But not much here yet, but I think we're more than likely going to see an extension here. Okay? See anything that looks impressive to you, Nathan? Something that just really sticks out?
Nothing that really sticks out, but I mean, you've got all these little kinks within this line. Definitely, there's a line of gusty winds rolling through. That's no question that there's going to be easily 30 to 50 mile per hour winds widespread across the region, moving into central Arkansas possibly. So I think the power outages will continue to add up across the region. That newest tornado watch, I've got that up here on Max 1 for you, Tom, and along with the time.
So till 10 o'clock tonight, and that includes a good part of central and western Arkansas as well. I would imagine, though, that we'll see these counties get lifted as we head closer to news time. So central Arkansas and eastern Arkansas until 10 o'clock tonight. That does include Pulaski, Faulkner, Lone Oak, White, Saline, Jefferson, Grant County. So you're under a tornado watch, and it's because of that line. And within that line, we may have a couple of tornadoes. Certainly not anything widespread like we've been experiencing this month, but a wall of wind, a big line of wind, and within that line there could be a couple of tornadoes. So this watch is in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. All right, let's go back to Max 2, and I can show you in our live winds mode where the strongest winds are occurring within that line from near Mount Ida down to Clark County. Now strong wind gusts just west of Arkadelphia. Lake Gray is not far from here. That line continues to move to the east at about 30-35 miles per hour. Individual cells within that line are moving to the northeast. We saw tornado warned storm out of Polk County and Montgomery County. So far so good. No more tornado warnings, but our big concern here is this line that could produce tornadoes pretty quickly. They'll cycle down, they'll cycle up, all within and around that line. Back to Max 1 we go, and I can show you the counties a little bit better. Under the severe thunderstorm warning this afternoon, that line extending from near Logan County in northward through western Yell County, Montgomery County, Pike, Clark, down to Nevada and Hempstead County, and it arcs back toward the Texarkana area in the Arklatex region. Again, once the line moves through your area, the severe weather threat will come to an end. But with the tornado watch until 10 o'clock tonight, and it would be the eastern extent would really be impacted more along the lines of 10 o'clock. I think in the Little Rock area, it's going to hit us right about the afternoon rush. And there could be one or two little cells that develop out ahead of that line. That's something we'll also keep an eye on. These are moving from south to north, and they're going to tap into a very unstable environment here and just enough wind energy. But again, we're looking at severe thunderstorm warnings with the possibility of a tornado or two that could develop within that line. Nate?
Once this line moves through, you're done with threat of severe weather. So things are starting to wind down into Polk County. And it's just this streak of red that we have to watch out for potential damaging wind gusts and maybe some brief embedded tornadoes within the line as it makes its way off to the east and northeast direction. So more severe thunderstorm warnings will likely be issued as it pushes off to the east. I think we'll be under a severe thunderstorm warning for a large part of the metro as we get into the 4 or 5 o'clock time frame. That will likely happen because this line continues to advance its way off to the east. Still some lightning happening in the Polk County, Scott County over into Oklahoma, but you're pretty much done with the threat of severe weather in terms of damaging wind gusts and the tornado threat. However, there could still be some issues of flash flooding concerns. Heavy rain, got to watch out for the smaller creeks and streams, poor drainage areas, low-lying areas, because this could add up. Let's take a look at the rainfall. We haven't seen that just yet. When we take a look at the rainfall radar estimates over the past, we'll just go with about 6 hours or so, and we do have that flash flood warning that has been posted for Polk County and also into Scott County because they've seen so much rain. So we have a flash flood warning in effect for that part of the state until 6 o'clock, Tom, and hopefully this will start to load up. Might be taking some time here to get all the information with the radar and also the rainfall estimates. Might have to come back to me on that, and we'll see if it loads up or not.
Okay, well, let's just go to Max 2, and we'll talk about the timing of the storms tonight, how and when you're going to be impacted. The biggest question we get asked is, what time is it going to affect me at my house? So we've had storms ongoing this afternoon, 1 to 6 o'clock. So I would say certainly by 6 o'clock, western Arkansas, the storms will come to an end. We turn our attention to central Arkansas. Anytime as early as 3, as late as 9 o'clock for central and northeast Arkansas, where we also find a tornado watch till 10 o'clock, and then southeast Arkansas around 6 o'clock on the earliest extent. 11 o'clock would be the end time. So 3, 4, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock possibly in central Arkansas. That's about the time we get a lot of folks on the roads. They're heading home from Little Rock to Conway or Little Rock, Benton, Bryant, or even some the other way along I-30. That's your storm timeline. Stay alert for warnings. We've got several severe thunderstorm warnings. That line of storms is not far. Garland County is getting ready to enter your area. Clark County, Hot Spring, down to Nevada County, and the line is moving to the east at about 35. Individual cells are moving to the northeast. So that's what we have currently with the latest on the timing of these thunderstorms, and I think it's picked up a little bit, moving in sooner rather than later. And again, anywhere along that line, we're going to be seeing some strong wind gusts, possibly some hail, but more importantly, we're keeping a close eye on the tornado threat within this line. And this line covers up a big swath of real estate. These aren't those individual cells. This is a long line of wind, a swath of wind. And where you see the orange areas, that's who's under the warnings. Perry County now is under a severe thunderstorm warning, as well as a part of Yell County. And these warnings extend Washita County, Lafayette County, Nevada County here in southwest Arkansas. You have the rainfall estimates. Let's go back to Max 1 now.
Just as I threw it to you, that's when it loaded up.
Okay,
of course.
well, fine. I'll throw it back. Okay.
There you see, this is the 6-hour radar estimates of rainfall, and it's impressive in some locations. So you get into these oranges, and you're getting 1 inch to 1.5 inches. That's why flash flood warnings have been issued for that part of the state, and actually they have new flood alerts that have been issued. We got one now into Montgomery County and also into a small sliver of Yell County until 6:45. So if you're watching us in those locations and you run into those trouble spots, certainly do not cross over any roads that are covered with water, especially if you have to go over a stream or a creek. Typically, that's not going to be a smart thing to do because you could get yourself into trouble very quickly. So we have the combination of heavy rain, lightning, thunder, but also with that potential of severe weather marching its way closer and closer to the metro as we go into the next 2 to 3 hours. Most likely, we're going to have just a blanket of severe thunderstorm warnings across a large part of central Arkansas, because I just don't see these storms really weakening. I think they'll continue to maintain their strength, or they may even strengthen as they approach Saline County, Pulaski County, Faulkner County, Grant County, and also into Jefferson County. It's a short window that we have to deal with this ugly weather scenario, with the heavy rain, with the lightning, thunder. but it does pack a punch. So just be prepared. It's going to happen right around the evening rush here, it looks like, for Little Rock Metro. So my advice is, if you're watching us at work right now, try to leave early. If you can leave before 5 o'clock, or stay where you are and wait it out, because with this heavy rain moving in, there's going to be ponding on the interstates, and hydroplaning can be a big concern, especially when you have torrential downpours across the region, Tom.
Yeah, flash flood warning, Yell County, Montgomery, Logan, Polk, Scott, and Pike. So flood warnings are now coming along with the line of storms that's capable of producing some damaging wind gusts and also a brief tornado. We have a weather impact alert day in for today because of the line of thunderstorms and because of the flooding threat. All of that equals a bad weather day, and it's happening at a time where most folks are going to be heading home from school or heading home from work. And 5 o'clock-ish is when this line is going to be moving into the Little Rock area. There could be an uptick in intensity along this line. Severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for Yell County, Perry, for Garland, Montgomery, Hot Spring, Clark, also a little part of Washita County. This is on down the line a ways. But they're giving you plenty of lead time with these warnings to make sure that you can get home and get things situated in case there's a tornado warning. So have your safe place ready to go. You can follow Nathan and I on THV11 Plus as well as THV11 right now. Our app, THV11 app, you can download it to your phone for free if you haven't already done it. It's going to be a busy afternoon. It's going to be an active afternoon. And with thunderstorms producing winds, let's hope that there are no power outages, but we've already seen a few. So power outages are possible, and certainly with the strong wind gusts, trees could be impacted. They could be uprooted, or you get some broken branches, and that can knock out power. Severe thunderstorm warning till 4:30. This is this blue box right here, and you've got a severe thunderstorm warning for 4:30 on this area here, all out ahead of this line. And then I would imagine we'll see this extended. It's 3:45. I would think by 4 o'clock we'll see this box extended to include more of central Arkansas, Saline County, Hot Spring. And it's getting ready, getting closer to move into the Hot Springs area, Garland County. I think the good news so far, Nathan, is we haven't received word lately of any tornadoes, or at least tornado warnings. That's good news, but the line itself is very potent and could produce some strong wind gusts and a very quick tornado this afternoon.
Let's go back over to Storm Track 11 now.
Okay.
We look at velocity. There's still kinks there, Tom. And I'm going to go over to the NROT tool, the rotation pinpoint tool. The only thing about this is, yes, it's showing an uptick in rotation, but the actual cloud tops are pretty weak in this area. So that could just be the software going a little too aggressive with this. Yeah. Nonetheless, if you were in Briggsville, Rover, Plainview, just keep a close eye on that situation, because there may be something that's trying to produce some spin in the clouds. Right now, I'm not too concerned, and it could just be a little rotation within some gusty winds that you could possibly get.
Well, on Storm Track 2, Nathan, the wind mode, the NROT mode, if we take it a little farther out, it's also good at pinpointing where the strongest winds are located, not just rotation, but the strong wind gusts in a line, a big wall of wind. This is our velocity mode, extending north to south, Yell County, south Montgomery County, strong winds again down in the Clark County area. But there's a couple of kinks here, a couple of areas. There's one just to the east of Mount Ida. 270 west, Hot Springs, west of Hot Springs, right there. There's your spin if there's any happening whatsoever. Strong line of thunderstorms. It was forecast to move in today, this afternoon, and that's what we're seeing right now. Let's go back to Max 1 if you can, and we're going to put a timing, or at least a storm track on these. And there are the areas that will be impacted here in the Garland County area this afternoon. Hot Springs about 4:05. Arkadelphia 4:11, Perryville 4:32, and that's with this whole area extending to the east. Conway 5:15, Little Rock 5:36, Cabot just after 6 o'clock at the current rate of speed, 35 mile per hour wind. Storm movement from west to east right there. That blue box is who's in the pathway, some major areas in the pathway of the storms and the timing of when you'll be impacted by those storms. 4:05 Hot Springs, Cabot 6:08. So you got a couple of hours, Cabot. Hopefully that you don't have much going on outside. The kiddos don't have any sporting events happening outside. If you do, then you might want to reschedule those. Severe thunderstorm warning now for Johnson, Yell, Pope, and Logan counties until, don't see the timing. Let me take a look at it. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4:45 this afternoon. We have several counties, Nathan, under a warning till 4:15, then 4:30, and now 4:45.
And when we take a look at those warnings, Tom, they're pretty much all general severe thunderstorm warnings, although there is a tornado warning with a tornado possible tag in North Yell County, parts of Logan County, extreme southeastern areas of Johnson County, and then it also does bleed its way into western areas of Pope County. So we'll have to watch out for that. And still severe thunderstorm warnings with a tornado possible tag for southwest Arkansas.
Yeah, in southwest Arkansas, in case you're joining us this afternoon, southwest Arkansas probably has the best parameters. An enhanced risk of severe weather for southwest Arkansas for a few of those counties. Maybe a little bit of a greater tornado threat, but within this line, we've been reading about it all week, at least, and been talking about it, where we could see the possibility of a few tornadoes within that line. And that's why we're on this afternoon, because all it takes is for us to get off THV 11, go back to plus, a warning's issued, then we're back and forth. It's just better for us to stay on this and track it as it moves into central Arkansas this afternoon. It looks like it's going to be news time. So we will, hopefully there won't be a tornado warning by then. We may get some news in, but we'll also keep tracking these storms as they move through central Arkansas. Russellville area up here, northern parts of Yell County, Pope County, Logan County, under severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible. Some rotation here within that line. General severe thunderstorm warnings in central Arkansas with that line of wind moving now closer to Hot Springs, just to your west, to the west of Arkadelphia, and over and through the Danville area. Here's what it looks like on Max 2. That line, here's your warnings. Now the line of storms moving into west central Arkansas, Max 2 if we can. There you go. There it is. And within this line, those kinks we're talking about, those little areas where we could see some spin, still exist within this line. Again, there's Yell County, here's Perry, Garland. The strongest activity within that line right now from Yell County, Montgomery, Garland, down to Nevada County, and it's moved out of Hempstead County. The severe weather threat is coming to an end for Scott, Polk, Howard, Sevier, and Little River counties, and it's still for us. We still have a ways to go with that line moving into western Garland County. Again, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect until 4:45 for Logan County, for Johnson, Yell, and Pope. That's this area right here, and they've got a tornado possible tag on that. And from there we go back to what the National Weather Service is saying. They haven't said anything, but they're watching that rotation near Briggsville. That was in Yell County. That's why they have that tornado possible tag on that. It was tightening up in within this line right here. So that's our live radar this afternoon. It's 3:51. Schools are letting out. You're probably getting ready to hit the road. Those of you that may be able to watch us on your phone in the office are probably getting ready to head west, southwest on I-30. If you can make it home in the next 20 to 30 minutes, that would be great. Otherwise, Nathan said you might want to wait it out, and that's a good idea as well with that line moving into central Arkansas around 5 o'clock. It's going to be about an hour and 10 minutes from now, Nathan.
Yeah, it's progressing its way to the east, Tom. The strongest cells right now, when I take a look at the cloud tops, are primarily right along the Interstate 30 corridor. So Garland County, Hot Spring County, and also down into Clark County. We had a report from our THV 11 weather reporter. She said Pike County, lots of power outages. They did have some gusty winds, high winds roll its way through. So that does make sense for that severe thunderstorm warning to continue to be issued in Clark County, because this is going to be a wall of wind. And we're probably looking at a shelf cloud, that low hanging ominous cloud feature that just expands over the entire horizon before it reaches you. And you see something like that, that means it's time to batten down the hatches, because the winds will likely pick up as the passage of this cloud occurs. And also behind that, you're going to see that wall of rain as well. So things will be going downhill weather-wise here in the metro. It's only a matter of time as the band of rain now approaches Hot Springs. We'll take a look at the iDrive Arkansas camera coming up in just 1 second, Tom. But at this time right now, I'm not seeing anything too crazy in the form of rotation. Pretty much just a lot of kinks within this line that could produce a brief tornado with little to no warning. Fortunately, in this type of situation, it's usually those weaker tornadoes within a squall line.
I'm pulling up the tornado watch information on Max 2 if we want to take a look at that. There will be more counties that will be taken away here. Tornado watch till 10 o'clock for central and eastern Arkansas. The counties in western Arkansas under the watch until 5 o'clock. We have a little ways to go still before we get that line into central Arkansas, but just wanted to update you the tornado watch until 10 o'clock tonight. And this is going to match up and go along the lines of what we were talking about with the overall storm timing today. Between 3 and 9 o'clock central northeast Arkansas, between now, let's say 6 o'clock at the latest with this western Arkansas line, and then southeast Arkansas between 6 and 11 o'clock tonight. So that's your storm timeline for storms that may occur in your area. Here in Little Rock, the estimated time is around 5:30. The storms moved in quickly, and they seem like maybe they've slowed down just a little. But 5 o'clock, Little Rock Metro, Little Rock, Conway, Cabot, down to Benton and Bryant. And right now, Garland County, Hot Springs, the line is getting closer to you. This is what it looks like on Max 1. Garland County. Here you go. Hot Springs, Lake Hamilton, the Village. There is that line. That line's going to have some very strong wind gusts. This extends down into Hot Spring County. There's Bismarck and down around Arkadelphia and west of Arkadelphia, Caddo Valley area. And along this line, we may have these areas of spin, these areas that we're keeping an eye on. That's why we're here today, because of the quick tornado potential within this line. It's just to the west of you, Arkadelphia, now moving over Lake DeGray here, riding along northern Clark into Hot Spring County. So if you're out on the lake and you're watching us, hopefully you're in a safe spot. A little farther north you travel, there's Garland County. Storms are now over Lake Washita in Garland County. Here's Yale County and southern extent of Perry County. But Danville storms are not far from you. And the storms weaken a little, it appears, as they move toward the Johnson County area around Clarksville, not quite over to Pope and Russellville. So the strongest segment of this line is from Yell County southward to western Garland and northern and western Clark County.
Storm Track 11, I got iDrive Arkansas. This is the Hot Springs bypass looking to the west, and the skies looking much more ugly because that line of heavy rain is starting to approach, and it's only a matter of time before torrential rain moves into this part of Garland County, and that's what it's going to look like here in central Arkansas as we get into the next hour or so. Be on lookout because the sky will be getting dark off to the west here in Pulaski County and Saline County shortly.
Yeah, we're going to keep an eye out. We've got our camera shot. Hey, can we take it just real quick? There may not be anything on it, but we're going to keep an eye on our outside shot here that we have at THV 11, looking from high atop the Simmons Bank building toward the west. Let's just take a quick look at it. We might be able to see the storm tops of those thunderstorms, and we can, but we'll keep an eye at this vantage point. Nathan has talked this afternoon about a significant shelf cloud that's going to be out in front. So that's something that is a feature we'll keep an eye on. You get a gush of wind, some very heavy rain and thunderstorm activity, but it does look like we're beginning to see the skies darken west of Pulaski County, the storm tops as they get a little bit closer to us. This is also a good time to remind you that when and if we have these storms move into central Arkansas, they can quickly produce tornadoes. Make sure you have your safe place ready to go. You've got a way to receive your severe weather information. Sometimes these line of storms produce these quick tornadoes, brief tornadoes, not these strong long track tornadoes, but enough of one to drop down and cause some issues and then weaken or dissipate. Then another one develops along that line. Severe thunderstorm warning for wind gusts now beginning to enter the western part of Hot Springs. Here's Lake Hamilton, Hot Springs. Piercy's a little bit farther to the west. I would imagine that Piercy's probably getting some of that activity along Highway 227, Highway 70. There's 270 west. And here's Highway 5. You're going up toward Hot Springs Village, Jesseville area. Strong storm now beginning to move into the Bismarck area. And it's out in front of this line that we may see a few of those kinks, a few of those areas of rotation. So that's an intense area, and we're probably seeing that from our camera shot in Little Rock, at least the tops of that cloud, that thunderstorm complex. Perry County, Yell County, Here's Garland, Hot Spring, Clark, and this is the strongest line that we have in Arkansas. Now, once you get beyond that, it becomes more of a moderate to heavy rain threat. There are flash flood warnings out there. So, Nathan, another side of this that we have to be concerned with, along with a line of storms, is the potential for some flash flooding this afternoon.
Absolutely, Tom. This band of rain can produce easily 1 to 3 inches of rain in a short amount of time. So we've got the heavy rain threat, we've got the damaging wind threat, although this is not a situation like what we experienced earlier in the month here in Little Rock when we had that bow echo move through and produce an area of 70 to 80, 85 mile per hour winds that just caused a lot of issues across Little Rock Metro. We're not seeing that type of feature at this time. Right now, this looks like, for the most part, it is a band of wind, 40 to 50 miles per hour. Maybe some pockets that could be 60 to 70 miles per hour, but I think that is the exception versus the rule. Heavy rain, yes. Lightning, thunder, yes. Could there be a brief tornado? Can't rule it out. That's why we had that tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock. But every severe weather event that we deal here in Arkansas is different. This is not the same thing we've been dealing with over the past couple months. This is more a typical severe weather event that we're used to here in Arkansas. A line of storms that could pack some pretty gusty winds and maybe the threat of a quick spin-up tornado. We're not looking at supercells out there today. We're not looking at long track tornadoes that can produce EF3, EF4 tornadoes. It's more EF0 or EF1. Hopefully none. But we do have some wind energy in place, Tom, and that's why we do have that potential of maybe a brief tornado.
Hey, with that, we'll go to Max 2 for the live winds and show you the winds that we're concerned about. Max 2, and we utilize this tool, of course, show you the couplets, but we can also point out those strong wind gusts within this line and these little areas of spin that may be off the ground but not quite reaching the ground. That's in Yell County. Strong winds extend down into western Garland County. Winds blowing toward the radar right now, 40 to 60 plus miles per hour, way up high, maybe not transitioning to the surface, but some strong winds here and little areas, little eddies of spin that are occurring. Thank you, sir. That's why we're keeping a close eye on this. These thunderstorms or this line of storms could produce a brief tornado. We get the warning and then the tornado warning happens and then it's gone.
Let's go to Max 1 now.
Max 1?
I've got it zoomed in on Hot Spring County, the border of Hot Spring and Clark County.
Okay.
That blue area right there, Tom, pretty close to Bismarck. That's an uptick in the winds. That is the computer data picking up winds that would reach severe weather criteria, 60 miles per hour or so. Could it be a little bit of rotation mixed in as well? That's something that we'll definitely have to look at to make sure I'm looking at the right radar here. So yeah, this is from Little Rock now. So just a word of caution, no tornado warning in effect, but you could have some high winds moving through Bismarck very shortly, and that's going to continue to push its way off to the northeast. So we'll have to watch out for that closely. Let's go over to Storm Track 11 too, Tom. I'm going to put up the NROT because there was a little hint of green that did pop up with this. So let me go back one scan, and there's just a little hint right there. So Bismarck, just be ready.
I'm gonna work on changing a microphone real quick.
Okay.
Battery, so I'll let you keep it real quick, and I'll be back in about 10 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay.
Or less.
All right. So I will stay over here. You're gonna.
No, I was just popping it in and out.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted me to like come over to the green screen or not. So
live television, sometimes you have to change your mic. He's going to have to do the same thing in just a second. But yeah, that's why our producer of the booth, or our assistant news director, brought me a fresh battery to change into. But now I'm back. Not gone for long. There's that line, as Nathan was talking about, all those areas under severe thunderstorm warning from Clarksville to Danville to Hot Springs, and we'll keep a close eye on that cell near Bismarck that has a little bit of an uptick in some rotation. No warning on it, at least no tornado warning on it just yet, but you never know, it might get strong enough here. And Yeah, they're looking at that rotation in Bismarck. Here's Hot Spring County, Bismarck, right generally out of this area. There's Hot Springs in Garland County. There's Bismarck. So the line of wind is now moving over Bismarck, and right there is what we're talking about. Over the top of the community, there could be some rotation, and it will more than likely be wrapped in rain. You're not going to see it, and that's very dangerous. Although a lot of people want to try to go out and find it. But if you live in Bismarck, there's no tornado warning yet, but they're keeping a very close eye on it. That's going to move to the northeast. We have an iDrive camera. Okay, Social Hill right over here. We can look back toward the west of it, looking westbound. And now joining us in the booth is Lauren. Thank you very much, Lauren. Appreciate it. Here's the tree line. It's hard to see, too. You got the tree line here, but we're looking to the west. That storm is approaching from the west. A lot of traffic out there on I-30, and I would imagine more is getting ready to hit the road heading home this afternoon, and kids are going home. That's what it looks like on iDrive or RDOT. Let's go back to Max 2 with our live winds mode in this area. Here's Yell County. I'm going to take us a little bit more to the south. Give me just a moment, and we'll go down and watch that area. That seems to be the focus, at least for now, of where we could see something in the Bismarck area near Hot Spring County. Live winds, and kind of breaks up. The radar does not do a good job there. Let me go back over to our Little Rock live winds and see if that helps us out any at all. And I might be there right now. If not, we'll go back over to Storm Track 11 because that probably has the better vantage point of it. So no warning, no tornado warning still, but a severe thunderstorm warning. And what we'll see is these storms will cycle up and down. Looks like right there could be some strong wind gusts moving to the east-northeast. So you've got northern Hot Spring. Here's Garland County, Lake Hamilton, Hot Springs. These folks are under that severe thunderstorm warning. There's your polygon box, and soon we'll see it move into Saline and Pulaski County with that long line of wind moving to the east at about 30-35 miles per hour. Storm Track 11, do we have it up on Storm Track? There you go. That's what we're talking about. Right there near Bismarck, north of Bismarck. Looks like it may graze the southern part of Garland County, but certainly, Nathan, I would say that's probably the most impressive spin we've seen in a while here in Hot Spring County.
Yeah, right there as it crossed the border of Clark County and Hot Spring County, it definitely showed more of a tight couplet, and now it's kind of lost that characteristic. The brighter blues aren't showing up. We're not seeing that tight couplet anymore, so it looks like this is more of a damaging wind threat versus a tornado threat at this time. We'll just go down the line just to make sure everything else is behaving itself, and I'm not seeing anything. Now, this is from the Fort Smith radar, so let me go back over to Little Rock and also examine those areas, because when we take a look at the Little Rock radar, any one of these little bright spots that you see could try to spin up something. So there's little bright spots on the border of Yell County into Perry County. Let's go back over and rewind this here for Hot Spring County. There was certainly an uptick in winds. Right there. So I was getting winds 5,000 feet, about 67 miles per hour. But like I said, made its way over Bismarck, and now it's weakened a little bit more. Still have to watch that as we go into the next several scans. Otherwise, I'm not seeing anything too concerning along the rest of the line, Tom, although we still have to watch out for these areas into northern parts of Garland County, it looks like.
Yeah, these little areas where the blues and the reds come together. That's what we're talking about. The one thing that I do want to mention that's important is that line is getting closer to the Little Rock metro area, moving into Garland County. Let's go back to Max 1 and we can take a look at what that line looks like reflectivity-wise. The uptick in lightning here in northern Hot Springs, southern Garland County. Line of thunderstorms now moving into Garland County through central Garland County. That does impact Hot Springs. Bismarck, you're being hit pretty good with some very heavy rain, possibly some wind. Arkadelphia, that line is now moving over downtown Arkadelphia here at 406. I would imagine there's some folks heading home. Hopefully the kids have made it home. Next up, Saline, Pulaski, Grant, y'all go ahead and get your safe place ready to go just in case with this line of wind moving through. I would imagine folks are beginning to head out, hitting the road, head home. Little Rock up to Cabot or over to Lone Oak, even up to Conway. Got about 30 to 40 minutes. And one little cell here in southern Jefferson County. that does bear watching, going to produce a little bit of rain. But the action right now is to our west-southwest. This is Perry County, Garland County, Hot Spring, and Clark County. This is the strongest thunderstorm or line of thunderstorms that we have moving into central Arkansas about the time we thought it would this afternoon. And this line extends into northwest Arkansas. But the strongest thunderstorm activity from Yell County through Perry, Garland, Hot Spring, and Clark. And we're keeping a close eye within this line of where we could find the potential for a few brief tornadoes. So it's presence of mind this afternoon. The line is holding together. It's not weakening. It may actually be going through cycling in some regards, with that line moving to the east at about 30 to 35. There's Little Rock and Pulaski County, Benton. Gosh, it's 4:08. I would imagine they're going to extend this severe thunderstorm warning anytime. The line also has a little bit of a northerly jog. So let's say that line's moving more southwest and northeast with individual cells too. It's now moving through Arkadelphia, into Arkadelphia, Hot Springs, Lake Hamilton. Bismarck's getting hit pretty good with a wall of wind, and that extends down into Nevada County and Hempstead County. It kind of breaks up here, but there's still a severe thunderstorm warning, getting away from our radar in the Little Rock area. Let's see what else is going on from the standpoint of the National Weather Service. Okay, not much else. It's just that line of thunderstorms, Nathan, that we expected to impact us, and in fact, it's doing so this afternoon.
It's a wind machine, Tom. It's a wind machine and heavy rain for a short amount of time, but it does mean business for probably about 15, 30 minutes, and things will start to wind down. So pretty much Polk County, large part of Montgomery County, Little River, Sevier County, you're done with the threat of severe weather. It's all off to the east, and we'll see that tornado watch get chiseled away county by county over the next hour or so. Our coverage of showers and thunderstorms will be making its way into central Arkansas very shortly. It's already in Garland County. It is lined up along the Interstate 30 corridor, Arkadelphia, and that strongest cell in Arkadelphia is going to be making its way into the metro. You can see that cluster of lightning happening with some of these storms too, Tom.
I was going to ask Lauren, if you don't mind, look at I-30 at a camera shot here near the Arkadelphia area. We'll find out what's going on down in Clark County with cameras all up and down I-30 this afternoon. And there's a westbound shot, and that is Arkadelphia, Nathan. That's see the storm here that's moving to the northeast. So there you go.
And at Storm Track 11, we've got another camera. This is around Friendship.
Okay.
Darkening skies right there. Rain shield hasn't arrived just yet, but things will be changing very quickly as that line of storms is knocking at the doorstep of that location.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the wind is there. The trees don't look like they're blowing about just yet. But folks that are on the interstates, they'll be a little bit surprised if they're not paying attention to the weather with that line of severe thunderstorms getting ready to impact them. Again, to max 1, and yep, there you go. I-30 near Arkadelphia, Hot Spring County if you live in Malvern, if you live up to Rockport. Be prepared, because this warning is probably going to be expanded, if not extended, through the rest of Hot Spring, Garland, Saline, and even into Pulaski County. That would take us to about 5 o'clock, 5:30 this afternoon. We have a camera shot out of Gurdon. Lots of rain. It's kind of tough to see what's going on there. That's what you're going to get, torrential rainfall along with some very strong wind gusts within this line of storms. If you were at home this afternoon and you just turned on your TV, you're watching weather coverage with Nathan Scott, myself, Tom Brannon. We have a line of strong thunderstorms moving into central Arkansas. They could have some wind with it, some strong winds and possibly a tornado. Tornado watch remains in effect, and that includes central Arkansas now until 10 o'clock. That has been extended to include central Arkansas, and it's because this line is going to be moving over our area here in the next hour or so. Heavy rain near Hot Springs, Lake Hamilton, heavy rain down around Arkadelphia and Caddo Valley. And you can see it's a little bit of a bowing out, Nathan, with a little bit more of a swirl here. In Johnson, Logan counties, I don't know if you're picking that up, a little bit more of a spin here with that line that's moving to the east, northeast, and heavy rain out behind that line with flash flooding concerns on the western flank.
Let's go over to Storm Track 11 now, and we'll just take a look at, once again, what's happening with the wind data or velocity data. any one of these little bright blue spots showing some rotation happening within the storm. Now, it could just be a very quick little spin in the clouds and then disappears, or it could be something trying to develop. But you see the blues are continuing to increase as it get closer and closer to the metro, Tom. That's just because we're getting a better reading on the data as it gets closer and closer to the radar dome. So I think we're going to see some gusty winds here in the metro. This is easily about probably 40 to 50 miles per hour. I got a 47 mile per hour wind that's about 4,500 feet above the surface on the border of Perry County and Yell County. And then getting into Hot Spring County, this is also about 50 miles per hour. So with the trees being all leafed out, they're going to catch that wind.
They're going to catch it, yeah.
And that is going to cause some issues. I think we're going to see some trees down. We're going to have some branches down across parts of the region. I don't think it's going to be a widespread event, but now we do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for parts of Pulaski County.
Yeah, that does include Perry, Conway, Garland, Saline, Pulaski, and Yell County till 5 o'clock. We thought that they might extend it, and they have just a western part of Pulaski County, but there's your new box that it covers up several counties, Conway County, Perry, as well as northern Saline. Hey, Nathan, I think this is probably the most intense area within that line with the strongest wind gusts that may have prompted the extension of that severe thunderstorm warning. So there you go. That's what we have going on here this afternoon. There's Yell County, here's Perry County, there's the strong winds just to the west-southwest of Hollis, Arkansas. If you are at home this afternoon, let's say you got kids at home, maybe give them a call and say, hey, might want to get to your safe place, whether it's an interior room, maybe it's a basement, maybe you've got a storm shelter at home. Let's get the kids safe. A lot of them getting out of school and parents are not quite home just yet. This is northern Saline County, there's northern Garland County, Perry, and this area bright blue, that it's getting closer to the radar. The radar is over in North Little Rock. As Nathan pointed out, we're now beginning to see better inside these storms as they get a little bit closer to us. In fact, if we could take a quick look outside from our vantage point in Little Rock, looking to the west, we may be able to see the skies getting even darker with that approaching line of storms. And we'll keep an eye out for shelf cloud, for potential shelf cloud as it gets closer to central Arkansas, closer to the Little Rock area. But we are now overcast, getting the tops of those thunderstorms now reaching into central Arkansas. Let's go back to Max 1. We have a little bit of a better vantage point of that severe thunderstorm warning, and it's only a matter of time. The rest of Garland, Hot Spring, and Saline County, I'm surprised they haven't been added yet, but I would imagine they're next on the list to be added. For those that, for those of you that live here in Saline County, Hot Spring, and Grant, Dallas County, you're more than likely going to see a severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to come shortly. But the newest activity, western Pulaski County, northern Saline County, Perry, southern Conway, for this line, it's this area here from near Arkadelphia northward, not far from Russellville. That's the strongest segment of that line that could produce some strong wind gusts of 60 plus miles per hour and possibly a brief tornado. I'm going to try to freak anybody out this afternoon. We don't want you to be scared. Just be prepared and make sure you have your precautions ready. If you have a safe place, you've got all the items that you need. Surely, a lot of people have the safe place ready to go regardless. We've had an active month of April with numerous severe weather events, and this could be another one. Storms moving closer to the Little Rock metro area. Little Rock, it'll probably be here in the next 45 minutes to hour before that line moves into the downtown Little Rock area. Still awaiting more counties to be added with that severe thunderstorm warning. Nathan?
Back over to Storm Track 11 now. I have the power outages across the state, all thanks to poweroutage.us. We've got power outages continuing to add up here now. Clark County and also Hot Spring County. For Clark County, about 850 customers are without power. And then in Hot Spring County, it's about 600 customers without power. So for the entire state at this time, we have over 15,000 customers without power due to those strong to severe thunderstorms rolling their way through Arkansas and moving closer and closer to the Little Rock metro. So once again, you got some time before it gets here, but don't wait too long because you do not want to be out driving when this wall of rain and wind arrives. It's not going to stick around for a very long time. The worst of the weather will probably stick around for about 15 to 30 minutes, and then things will start to calm down in terms of the rain intensity and also those gusty winds. But there is that line marching its way through eastern Yell County, western Perry County, now taking up a large part of Garland County, about to enter into western areas of Saline County, Hot Spring County, about to move over towards Malvern, and then Arkadelphia into Clark County, and that extends down to the south. And it's all pushing its way to the east, a little bit of a northeast direction. The main concerns within this line will be the threat damaging wind gusts. I think it's going to be a wall of wind for the most part, 40 to 50 miles per hour, but there could be some pockets of wind that exceed 60 miles per hour, maybe up to 70 in some cases, and that could bring down some tree limbs. That could certainly bring down some trees as well and cause more power outages. So be prepared. The chance of power outages will be on the increase here in Central Arkansas.
Let's update you on the tornado watch that we have till 10 o'clock tonight. If we can go to Max 2. Those counties under warnings, but we still have the tornado watch. And the good news is that these westernmost counties are more than likely going to be lifted here soon, with that line of storms now moving closer to central Arkansas. But Little Rock, Searcy, Batesville, Stuttgart, Pine Bluff, a tornado watch remains in effect till 10 o'clock tonight. The line of storms has the potential of producing some damaging winds of 60 plus. When you talk about severe thunderstorm winds, 58 plus mile per hour winds, so 60, and then you've got quarter-sized hail. Not seeing a whole lot of hail, it's more of a wind threat with this line as it moves from west to east. And currently, it's in west central Arkansas. This is what it looks like on Max 1 now, with the line getting closer to the Little Rock area. Severe thunderstorm warning has now been extended to include a part of Grant County, Saline, and down around the Dallas County area. So there has been at least some movement with the watch being extended more to the east. A little cell over in Jefferson County, non-severe, could produce some heavy rainfall. The boxes in orange with yellow around it, that's severe thunderstorm with the potential of a tornado or tornado possible. That's here and also down in Hempstead and Nevada County. But just run-of-the-mill, plain old severe thunderstorm warnings in the orange for wind gusts of potentially 60 miles per hour or higher. And within that line, you can have these spin-up tornadoes, these that don't last long. They're brief, and then they go away, and then more could occur. That's why we're joining you this afternoon. It is currently 4:20. Nathan Scott, Tom Brannon, you're joining us on THV 11, also THV 11 Plus, our app, and possibly out there on YouTube and Facebook as well. I get a confirmation on that. If you're watching us across all platforms, we thank you, and we'll continue to track these storms until they're out of your area. We get a lot of people that reach out to us on our social media networks and ask about timing of storms and when the storms may be out of their area. I will say this, the severe weather threat is lessening, let's say, Mount Ida west, but you still have to deal with the flooding threat for a little while longer this afternoon and this evening. Now, if you live in Little Rock, Cabot, Conway, Sheridan, and you have a question like that, points east, we have yet to see our severe weather threat come together. It is there. We do have warnings, numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, with a line of storms extending from near Yell County, really on up to Johnson County, Yell County, Western Perry, Garland County, Hot Springs, the lakes, getting hit pretty hard now with a severe thunderstorm. That extends into Hot Spring and Clark County, just south of Arkadelphia, near the Gurdon area. That's the strongest area of thunderstorms, wind, and potentially a little bit of hail, but more likely some very heavy rain. That is moving to the east. It is 4:21 right now. This line is going to be through Saline County, getting closer to the Pulaski County area sometime 5:30, maybe 6. I think it went through a little bit of a period where it may have slowed down a little. It was faster moving out of Oklahoma, and then it began to slow a little, and it may pick up a little more forward momentum. But if you live in central Arkansas, there is a good chance that you're going to see a severe thunderstorm warning for strong and damaging straight line winds. Nathan?
So right now, if you have any patio furniture out on the deck, you want to bring that in or protect it, because winds at 40 to 50 miles per hour can certainly blow away the chairs, or make sure those umbrellas are down as well, because you don't want your patio table topping over because the winds catch the umbrella and you got some issues. This line of storms is headed in our direction right now. It continues to look like, for the most part, it's a wall of wind. We're not seeing any rotation of significant concern along this line. Not to say that there may not be a brief area of rotation that tries to produce a quick spin up tornado. That is still a possibility. That's why we do have that tornado watch in place. Let's go over and take a look at the rain data. Once again, might take some time to load up here, so be patient. Oh, it actually was very quick with that time. So there's the radar estimates of the rain with this line as it progresses its way from west to east, and Garland County seeing over an inch of rain. So we've got pockets of 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rainfall happening just off to our west. And as this rain, torrential rain, moves into central Arkansas, it's going to create some issues for the evening rush. The evening rush is going to be slow. Watch out for ponding on the roads, especially those trouble areas where the water just sits and you hit that water and you can hydroplane and lose control very quickly. So we want everybody to be safe out there. Also, with this line moving through, the winds pick up, your visibility is going to go down very quickly, and that could cause some issues with the travel as well. It's a short amount of time that this is going to be happening, but my advice is you have to head out right now. If you are in Pulaski County, plan to stay in Pulaski County. Otherwise, your time's pretty much winding down if you have to head west on Interstate 40 or down to the west on Interstate 30 as well, because that line of storms has already started to move into Malvern, Hot Springs, also about to approach Perryville and eventually into Conway. You might just want to wait it out. Might just want to stay at work until this line moves through. That would probably be the smartest thing to do, I'd say, Tom. Okay, Tom is taking a break. He didn't tell me he was taking a break, but we are going to continue to watch this line of thunder and lightning with some gusty winds, 40 to 50 miles per hour. If you are to the west of this line, you are done with the threat of severe weather. And that includes Scott County, Polk County, Howard County, Low River County, Sevier County, Montgomery County's done with the threat of severe weather, Pike County's done with the threat of severe weather. So everybody to the east of this line and along this line still has to stay weather aware. And that does include us here in the metro. We're expecting this line to move into the metro probably around 5 o'clock till about 7, 8 o'clock. And then it will continue to progress its way to the east. So southeast Arkansas, east Arkansas, you might be still seeing some sunshine out there right now, but that will rapidly change going into the next few hours. Let's take a look at the visible satellite with the temperatures. And we've got temperatures that are still on the warm side. That's why these storms are not weakening. They continue to maintain their strength. They may strengthen as they continue to push their way into central Arkansas, tap into that more unstable environment with the warm and moist air in place, because temperatures are still into the low to mid 80s as this graphic is starting to load up. So there you go, 81 here in Little Rock, but you see that shield of clouds continuing to push over into East Arkansas. It's 85 right now in Stuttgart, 86 in Monticello. Meanwhile, behind the rain-cooled air, temperatures have dropped down into the 60s. Tom, now you're back with us, right?
Yeah, you know, I apologize. Nature calls on occasion, folks. That's all I got to say about that. Let's go back to Max 2. If you need to take a break, go ahead. Live radar.
I'm good.
Once again, you're okay.
I don't have to go check on Sierra because we're not in that situation today.
I was going to say, wait till you go 50 plus. Things will change. Live radar looks like this, and this gives you a pretty good vantage point of who's under the warnings. You've got Polk County, Conway County, Logan, Johnson counties now with severe thunderstorm warnings. We haven't really talked a lot about north central Arkansas, but we'll include them now because the warnings are beginning to fire off for them. Perry County, all of these counties I'm calling out have a severe thunderstorm warning. Perry, Yell County, Garland, Western Pulaski, Saline, Grant, Hot Spring. You've got Dallas County, you've got Ouachita County, all the way down into Columbia, Nevada, Clark. I mentioned Hot Spring, Garland, as that line, it's an impressive line, is moving and getting closer to the central part of the state, getting closer to the Little Rock area, but also impacting our neighbors to the north and north central Arkansas, and also southwest and south central Arkansas. This line is moving to the east and is projected to be moving into the downtown Little Rock area, let's say Pine Bluff, Sheridan, Conway, between 5:30, maybe a little bit thereafter. Here are the warnings: 5:15 for this polygon, 4:30 for the polygons here. Once you get beyond the severe thunderstorm and the line of thunderstorms, severe weather threat settles down quite a bit out toward, let's say, Crawford, Sebastian, Franklin counties, Polk County. It becomes more of a heavy rain threat for you. Montgomery, Pike, Howard, Little River, severe counties. This area of the state, the severe weather threat has come to an end. Certainly some good news for those folks. If we go back over to Max 1, I can also slap on those tornado watches, or at least the watch boxes. This part is still 10 o'clock for western Arkansas. It's set to expire at 5, but it might be extended. There you go, right there. There are the counties, and there have been a couple here and there that have been taken out. Shreveport took out those 3 in southwest Arkansas. We'll see if the National Weather Service takes Polk, Scott, and even Logan and Franklin out. They're busy right now with other things, tracking this line of storms. Potentially could produce some strong wind gusts of 60+ miles per hour. A brief tornado cannot be ruled out. And there's our line, getting closer to central Arkansas. And I'm going to depend on our producers, Lauren, and folks in the booth, to start looking for camera shots. You've got Faulkner County looking toward the west, since that line is getting closer to them, but also Russellville. Strong to severe thunderstorm moving into the Russellville area. Atkins, not far from you, in Dardanelle right now. Pope County, Dover, Hector, not far from you, strong to severe thunderstorm. And the severe thunderstorm looks like it's beginning to pull away from Clarksville and Johnson County. So the question we get asked quite a bit is, what time will it be over with, and are we in the all clear? I would say if you live Danville West, then the all clear. It's just moderate to heavy rain, potentially flash flooding, but I will say this, that can be serious as well. But the severe weather threat begins to lessen just a bit. Let's go back over, if we can. Why don't we take a look at Storm Track 11, Nathan, and if we have any rotation. Well, you've got a US 70 there. There's a camera shot. Okay, we'll do that. This Highway 70, this is going toward Hot Springs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you see the trees are moving there a little bit as the wind's starting to pick up. The heavy rain is going to be there very shortly, but we'll go over to Storm Track 11 here with the radar, and
that's
we'll
a really
take a look
good
at the winds.
shot of it bowing out right there. A good shot of some strong wind gusts. And the brighter blues really indicate where the strongest winds are occurring, and where you could find, where they kink a little bit here and there along the line. That's what we're keeping an eye on, for the potential for a brief tornado, a quick tornado, all up and down that line. Along with that, of course, the very heavy rain and the strong wind gusts, and strong winds from near Russellville down to Casa there in Perry County. Yeah, severe thunderstorm warnings for those folks. I would say at this point it's probably more straight line wind that's the concern here in north central Arkansas. Although you see that area of green near Russellville, it would indicate the potential for some rotation. We have a camera shot close to, oh, there you go. And this is in Russellville? Oh, okay, we're back. Albert, Pike, and Hot Springs. So you had one shot from Nathan, 270 or 70 west, and this one's Albert, Pike, and Hot Springs, showing a torrential downpour, and the ponding on the roadways, cars. You got to slow down a little bit more. You can't drive on those surfaces like that with water on the roads. You can hydroplane fairly easily. So this is Albert, Pike, and Hot Springs. And Nathan's got another spot there he's looking at, another camera that's near Lonsdale. All right.
Yeah, there's the Lonsdale cut off. Nope, it's just knocking at their doorstep, though.
Okay. Let's go back over to Max 2. Let's take a closer look at this line as it's getting closer now. Moving over Hot Springs, it's moving through the Russellville area, getting closer to moving through Russellville. Here's Russellville. It's to the east now of Danville, west of Perryville, moving into western parts of Saline County. Probably going to see an extension of that severe thunderstorm warning to cover more of Pulaski County here pretty soon. There's Saline County, and there's the line of storm, strong wind gusts moving into central Arkansas. We had a situation like this earlier in the month on a Saturday, where we had a strong line of winds that just popped up quick and intensified over Pulaski County. It was some fairly strong winds, 70, 75, 80 mile per hour winds. Maybe not as strong with these, but certainly will get your attention. As Nathan was indicating, might want to tie things down outside or bring them into the garage if you can to keep them from blowing away, because it's easily, you're looking at winds of 40 to 50 plus miles per hour. That line is getting close to moving out of Garland County. It's in eastern Garland County, western parts of Saline, central Hot Springs. So we're talking about, let's go to look for a camera shot near Malvern, in Rockport here in Hot Spring County, looking toward the west-southwest. I bet we can pick that line up as it moves in. The line now looks like it's almost completely cleared of the Arkadelphia area. And Hot Spring County, Garland, Saline, up the road there in Perry County. Eventually, southern Pope County. Here's Russellville. This is Pope. Conway County under that severe thunderstorm warning. Here's I-40. And you can see where the polygons extend out. So thunderstorms in a line moving to the east, maybe a little bit more of a northeast push at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Lauren, jump in there when you find that camera shot. Got Malvern? Yeah, Malvern's great. Let's go to Malvern down in Hot Spring County. And you can see the darkening skies. We're looking westbound. The line of storms is getting closer, Malvern. Can't really tell if the trees are picking up there, but Nathan's got another shot, I believe, as we look what he's got going on there. And there's Social Hill, Rockport. All right, there's Rockport. Skies darkening near Rockport. Why don't we go to our outside vantage point here in Little Rock and see if how things are progressing here. Yeah, skies are certainly darkening out in Little Rock, looking back toward the west. It won't be long here in the next hour. These storms will be entering the Pulaski County area. These storms, you can see the tops of those storms there. All right, once again, let's go back to live radar. You can take Max 1 or Max 2. Let's talk about the warnings that we have. Severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for Ouachita County, Calhoun, nearly all of Dallas County, western Grant County. These are the new warnings, I believe, that have been added within the last few minutes, with the southern extent of that line moving quickly to the east. Central Arkansas, that line here at Hot Spring County, we were looking toward the Malvern area, back toward the west. This warning is in effect until 5:15 and also 5:30 for that batch of counties in south central Arkansas. Just a little western tip of Pulaski County is under the warning right now. Let's see, that's Max 1. Let's go back to Max 2 real quick, if you don't mind. Thank you. Just to show you who's being impacted. Right now it's the western half of the state. You either got a line of storms or you're dealing with some moderate to heavy rain on the western side of that line. But the line is making inroads to the east and it's on time. It's going to be impacting our afternoon and evening commutes. Hopefully kids are home and off the buses. Nathan's got a great shot of live radar and what's happening up in Russellville on Max 1.
Oh, so that is the I-Drive Arkansas, Russellville, and you can see it's a mess there. We got the winds, very gusty winds happening, torrential downpours, slowing up traffic. People certainly have to use probably the high speed on their windshield wipers. We could be having winds of 40, maybe as high as 55 miles per hour looking at the latest data. When we go back over to Max 1, there's that corridor of very heavy rainfall where that solid area of red is lined up right across downtown Russellville. We'll go over and take a look at the winds within this cell, and there's some gusty winds. We're getting some gusty winds, easily 40 to 50 miles per hour. Now this is still about probably 3,000, 4,000 feet above the surface. But let's go back over to Storm Track 11 because that situation has rapidly changed and continues to go downhill. We could see the sign there earlier, Tom, and now I don't know if they lost power or if it's just such low visibility, but that is torrential rain happening right over Russellville at this time.
Very heavy rain. Yeah, you were pointing that out with the shot of radar just a moment ago. And that's what you're going to get, this line of wind and a very heavy area of rain. Heavy area of rain. Goodness. And there you go. And that's what it looks like up eastbound.
Is the traffic changing?
It looks like
the traffic's not coming towards the cameras much anymore. Okay, there we go. I was like, a lot of people were just taking the exits, looked like.
Yeah, I looked like some hazard lights as well because of that heavy wall of wind and rain. Let's go back to Max 1 and take a look at that. Maybe a little spin there, Nathan. A little rotation in this area here. along 64 and I-40. Some heavy rain, certainly. This is our live winds. This is our velocity range. So we might be picking up some rotation here with that line moving through and into the Russellville, downtown Russellville area. Max 2 will show you what it looks like on a broader perspective, how much real estate is being impacted. That line from Polk County, Yell down to Perry, Garland, Saline County, still with a little bit of a sliver of western Pulaski County under the severe thunderstorm warning, but more counties in south central Arkansas now. Ouachita, Calhoun, Dallas, Grant, and Hot Spring. If you live in those counties, you're under severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to last you till 5:30 for this, 5:15 for this swath of counties, and 5 o'clock with that line. That strong line of thunderstorms capable of producing some wind gusts of 60+ miles per hour. Heavy rain is possible, and we're still keeping an eye on this line for the potential of producing a brief tornado. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, I'm just looking at the Storm Track 11 right now.
Okay.
And
Storm Track.
You know, we got some red on there,
Ooh.
so
Okay.
that's interesting. And also, when we look at the velocity,
And that's what I was seeing on live winds on Max 1. Some coupling there. That's near Dover.
that's near Dover, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you could see it, but the National Weather Service is getting some wind damage reports now around Havana.
So if that's the case, I wonder if we had, again, that's how quickly these things happen. Either it's a strong burst of straight line winds, but there's a tornado vortex, tornado signature that's south of Dover. So, all right, so have they issued the warning on it yet? Tornado warning? Let's see.
There's no warning with that at this time, but there's definitely a pocket of some high winds.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over and take a look at CC and see if we see anything.
We'll back it up.
Again, we are 4,000 feet above, and I don't see anything because all this is non-uniform beam filling for the most part. But there's a little spike of winds.
Yeah. So if you live in Polk County, this is what we're talking about. There's Dover. Just to your south, Dover. Between Russellville and Dover, there could be a little pocket of some spin there. So you can't take that seriously. These things happen. You can. Let's go ahead and go back to our camera shot. Lauren says we've got some wind that we can pick up there. Near Russellville, yeah, you can see those trees really whipping around. There could be some strong wind gusts that we're picking up on velocity range this afternoon, westbound shot. It is 4:40, Nathan. In 20 minutes, we are going to transition to news at 5 o'clock. We'll have to do some repositioning, some reconfiguring with our weather systems. Yeah, look at that. That's near Dover. I mean, that's awfully suspicious. Along Highway 27 near Dover, and
Also Crow Mountain.
Crow Mountain,
there's
just
some
west of
pockets of
Crow.
wind right there.
Yeah, so if you live in Polk County and you're watching us right now, could be some very strong wind gusts at the very least, if not some strong rotation. You saw the camera shot near Russellville of the torrential rainfall. We're not going to go out and say, yeah, this is a tornado, but it could be some very strong wind gusts, 60, 70+ miles per hour if you match up what's going on here with the color. So, and this would be higher up in the cloud. Does it make it down to the ground? Does it transition down? This is north of Russellville, north of 40, where we could be looking at a pocket of some very strong winds in that area. That severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 5 o'clock tonight. We have not had a new warning issued here in the last while. They're also keeping a close eye on Perry County, but this is in Polk County. Russellville, there's Crow Mountain, area near Highway 27, Dover. Let's take this seriously. If you live in Dover, around Dover, and points to the northeast of Dover, Buck Mountain, there could be a pocket, a big wall of some straight line winds headed your way, very strong wind gusts. Again, live winds allows us to see the couplings as well as the strong wind gusts within the thunderstorm. Here's what it looks like reflectivity-wise on Max 2. We can track that line of storms, and we're getting that big pocket of red here, that very intense part of that thunderstorm here in Pope County. So that's kind of in line with some of the wind, getting some very heavy rain. It's really all we're seeing with reflectivity, the very heavy rain, but we also know that some strong wind gusts are in and around this line. And this line is now from Pope County and Conway, Yell County, Perry County, Saline down to Garland County, extending back toward Nevada County as well, Clark. So that line continues to move to the east, and individual segments in that line moving to the northeast. And all this kind of wrapping up here near Pope and Johnson counties. All of these counties under severe thunderstorm warnings. We're getting close to news time. Yell County, Havana, Arkansas, Yell County, a chicken house was damaged. That's a report coming from emergency management official there. So in Yell County. Here's Yell County. Storms lifted out of Yell County. So the western half of the state right now has thunderstorms or some heavy rain. Eastern Arkansas, they've got more fuel for the fire of these thunderstorms for later in the evening hours. We've got a tornado watch in effect for central and eastern Arkansas till 10 o'clock. A tornado watch remains in effect for Pulaski County as well. Haven't seen this box get moved into Pulaski County just yet, but I have a feeling here it is 4:43. By 5 o'clock, we'll probably see all of Pulaski, Faulkner, Grant, a part of Lone Oak, and Jefferson County involved in a severe thunderstorm warning as these polygons continue to expand. Now, if you live, let's say, I just saw a new box pop up here in Johnson and Pope County, I believe. But if you live to the west in western Arkansas, pick us up in Polk County, Montgomery, Pike, Howard counties. Moderate to heavy rain here, but the severe weather threat is beginning to wind down. Severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Logan County was canceled. Maybe that's what I saw flash off there. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Johnson, Yell, Van Buren, Pope, and Conway counties, and that's this polygon right here. Here's what they look like, the current warnings on Max 1. It's a better viewpoint. You're taking off all of the rain and thunder. Nathan, there's quite of a span of real estate there under severe thunderstorm warnings.
The one thing to highlight, Tom, is they're all just general severe thunderstorm warnings. So the National Weather Service has looked over a lot of the data, and they're saying, for the most part, the ingredients for tornado genesis to happen really not there at this time.
Well, that's good.
And I looked at the significant tornado parameter earlier. That has also come down. Nonetheless, there could still be one or two quick spin-ups. Otherwise, we're looking at a damaging wind threat. And we can see wind gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour, and there could be pockets of even higher gusts. So as this line continues to march its way towards central Arkansas, just be prepared for a round of very heavy rainfall, lightning, thunder, high winds, and maybe even a quick tornado warning cannot be ruled out. Once the line moves over your neighborhood, things will quiet down. So West Arkansas, you're done with the threat of severe weather. But here in central Arkansas, our threat is going up rapidly, and expect the conditions to deteriorate here in the Little Rock Metro really over the next hour to 2 hours.
Yeah, all of these orange polygons will be extended into central Arkansas. Now that's severe thunderstorm warning considerable that just popped up.
That's just because they said that the Russellville Airport recorded a wind gust of 63 miles per hour.
Okay, so that's what that means. So there's lots of colors here, and they all mean different things. But if we'll take a little closer inspection. Yeah, that's Perry County, northern parts of Saline and western Pulaski County. So the strongest thunderstorm may be occurring here. And let's take a look at what it's. Yeah, there you go. That lines up really well. That's some strong wind gusts near Perryville, west of Perryville, over Adona, near Rose Creek. There's Perry and Perryville. You're going to be in the path of this, but you can see how it's lining up there. Very strong winds, 63 mile per hour winds, maybe even a little bit stronger. So a significant or a considerable severe thunderstorm warning now in Perry County. Live radar on Max 2 will show a bigger picture. Very intense thunderstorm in Pope County. Yell County, there was a report of some damage near Havana, Arkansas, and this line extends down to central Perry, Saline, Garland County is getting ready to clear you. Hot Spring County, it's pretty much right over the top of Malvern and Rockport. And I expect that here momentarily, at least maybe by 5 o'clock, that we're going to see more of central Arkansas included in the severe thunderstorm warning. And also at 5 o'clock, we'll take a break from weather coverage and we will do a newscast. That's coming up roughly here in 13 minutes. And I think, Nathan, in that time, we'll probably see this new warning issued for Pulaski County, since these storms are now getting a little bit closer to us here in Little Rock metro area. But again, considerable severe thunderstorm warning now for Perry County for strong wind gusts. And you can see the line here extending outward into Saline County, Perry County, back to Pope County. Our main concern is very strong wind gusts in southwest Arkansas. There's a tornado possible tag on these warnings over the south central and southwestern part of the state. This line continues to march to the east. Tornado watch is in effect for eastern and central Arkansas. All right, trees down on roadways, power lines in western Garland County from near Camp Charlton, which is US 270 or 270 West. Several county roads south of Hot Springs Village, but no reports of structural damage at this time. So yeah, Nathan, we're getting pockets of some very strong wind gusts with these storms.
And those pockets of wind gusts, Tom, are knocking down trees, knocking down power lines, and the power outages continue to add up. So here's the latest on Storm Track 11 now. We've got power outages happening into Pope County, into Yell County. Now we have almost 18,000 customers in the state of Arkansas that have lost power due to these strong to severe thunderstorms rolling their way through. And I think we're going to continue to see more counties added to the list just because this line, Tom, is not weakening. It continues to maintain its strength, and it may be actually strengthening as it gets closer and closer to central Arkansas.
Strong wind gusts, straight line winds 60 plus miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect. Watching to see if any time here, I would expect that that this severe thunderstorm warning is going to cover up more of Pulaski County. Here's what it looks like. Once again, this is live radar on Max 2 this afternoon. There's the polygons indicating all of the warnings and the extension down in south central Arkansas. Strongest severe thunderstorm, but the one that has considerable attached to it, is moving through Perry County, and that may graze a part of northern Pulaski and Faulkner County. But keeping an eye on what the National Weather Service says, they've got more large trees or tree branches down in Russellville, blocking 2 lanes on Highway 64 downtown. So we're getting some reports now of the winds causing some issues, power lines, and some tree limbs down on roadways, which is going to create some problems until they get those moved. But this line continues to move to the east, 25 to 35 miles per hour. Started out this afternoon around really around 1:30 here in western Arkansas. This is how much it's made inroads. It's almost 5 o'clock, 10 minutes in front of 5 o'clock. The two most northernmost storms have the stronger winds, okay? And those would be these storms here moving through north central and part of central Arkansas. Faulkner County, Conway County, Faulkner County, Perry County. In just a few moments, I would imagine we're going to see this extension into central Arkansas. And just right about news time, we'll see the extension of the severe thunderstorm warning here in the Little Rock area. Let's take a look outside. Lauren, if you're up in the booth here, let's take a look outside over Little Rock. Look to the west. Want to keep an eye on the storm approaching from the west. Skies, I'm sure, are getting a little bit darker as we head through time. And Nathan and I want to keep an eye on that storm as it rolls into downtown Little Rock. We're going to pick it up, guys. Here we go. There you go. It's getting closer. Not quite here yet, but it is getting a little bit closer. The skies certainly have darkened to our west over Pulaski County. So what we're picking up are power outages, and we're hearing of trees that are down, limbs that have broken off, branches on roadways and on power lines. We heard of a report of some damage in Havana. That's in Yell County. And radar, you can go back to radar on Max 2. This is what reflectivity mode looks like. This is the line moving closer to central Arkansas. It's almost completely out of Garland County. I'm going to take us a little closer there in just a moment and look at what's going on there in the Garland County area. Hot Spring County, now into Saline County. Very intense line of thunderstorms. Malvern's getting socked pretty hard right now along I-30, Rockport. Up to the southeastern tip of Garland, there is Saline County, severe thunderstorm warning for the western part of Saline County. And again, just waiting to see what this polygon extension is. And I would imagine it's going to happen right around news time this afternoon and this evening. 4:52 right now. Nathan Scott, Tom Brannon. As I mentioned, we're going to have a newscast here at 5 o'clock. And if we do get a tornado warning, sometimes we get those things during the newscast, and we'll be right back in it. Nathan, what do you have as an update?
Here's all the different types of tornado warnings, or excuse me, current warnings across Arkansas on Max 1 now. We'll go down the line here. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Polk County, Conway County. That's a general severe thunderstorm warning. But then we have a severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag, just because winds could be greater than 70 miles per hour. There was a pocket of wind that they were looking at earlier. So that includes southern areas of Conway County, a large chunk of Perry County, western parts of Pulaski County, and northern areas of Saline County under that considerable severe thunderstorm warning. Then it goes back over to a general severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Saline County, eastern areas of Garland County, eastern areas of Hot Spring County, western areas of Grant County, down through Dallas County, and also Clark County. And this extends into Ouachita County and Calhoun County. And then we have a tornado possible tag with the one in Union County. So this basically says everybody is going to get hit with a good punch of some heavy rain, some gusty winds, and there is the potential we could have some strong wind gusts, maybe damaging wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Pockets of wind of that type will be possible along this line as it continues to push its way off to the east and eventually a little bit of a northeast jog as well. So it's just watching and waiting here, Tom, for the heavy rain, for the winds to pick up here, just in time for the evening rush in the Little Rock Metro.
I'm back. I'm sorry. Since we're doing a newscast here at 5 o'clock, I took a step up to the office to grab my jacket. Sorry about that. Severe thunderstorm warning. This is the one we've been waiting on now. Here we go. For Pulaski County, Perry County, Van Buren, Pope, Faulkner, Conway. There's your new warning polygon. So we've been waiting on it. It's just in front of the newscast here at 5 o'clock. And severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, and that does include Greenbrier, Conway, Mayflower, down to the northern part of Little Rock, Jacksonville, Bologna. This is for wind gusts of possibly 60+ miles per hour. Tornado watch also continues for a good part of central and eastern Arkansas tonight for this line that could produce the possibility of a tornado. There's your current watches. We're probably going to see the counties in western Arkansas removed from the tornado watch, but we're going to continue the watch here in central and a good part of eastern Arkansas. Severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, line of storms moving into central Arkansas, and that line could contain some strong and damaging wind gusts. We've had some power outages this afternoon. We've had reports of some damage, trees being knocked over on roadways, and that line is now getting closer to the Little Rock area. So Pulaski County is now within that severe thunderstorm warning. Oh, probably just looking at the timing, Little Rock metro area here in a half an hour, 4:30, 6:30, about an hour. So that's going to take us close to the 6 o'clock time period, but this is hitting at the worst possible time, in my estimation, because of the drive home. A lot more people out on the roadways, some folks not knowing what's going on around them, and then all of a sudden you've got a wall of wind and some very heavy rain falling. There's the latest on that line, Saline County up to Perry County, and this is the new polygon that extends over the northern half of Pulaski County. And looks like very strong segment of thunderstorms there just west of Haskell. I would imagine this part of central Arkansas will fill in very shortly. So here in a minute, we're going to transition to our THV 11 news at 5 o'clock. We'll come back with a little weather update and get some news in, and we'll keep an eye on these storms, this line of storms moving into central Arkansas that still has the capability and the potential of producing a brief tornado. There are your current watches once again, Nathan. Anything to add before we hit the news?
They were dropping the tornado watch. That's why I was flipping back and forth. They're going to drop the tornado watch for Hot Spring County, Yell County, Montgomery, Logan, Garland, Polk, Clark, Scott, and Pike counties.
Okay, that's good news. So some of the counties are beginning to disappear. But we'll carry on with central and eastern Arkansas until 10 o'clock tonight, or until the line that we have moves out of the way. This is what it looks like on Max 1 tonight. There's that very intense line, severe thunderstorms all up and down this line from south to north, central Arkansas, Pulaski County, Faulkner County, Van Buren County, the newest counties added, and a good part of Saline County also within the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, we're keeping an eye on the prospect of a few tornadoes within this line, as well as some strong wind gusts. It is now closing in on 5 o'clock. We're going to do a little news for you. So THV 11 News at 5 starts right now.
An afternoon of watches and warnings as severe storms push their way through the state. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Faith Woodard.
And I'm Rolly Hoyt, and you see Tom Brannon there. The THV 11 Weather Impact Team